All right, I need you to get in the trunk for the intro of the show.
Hey man, you catching a nigga off guard with this shit. Like, seriously? I'm not getting in no dirty ass trunk for no motherfucking minutes. Like, listen.
You think I want to be editing every week for these shows? No, but I do it for the show. So I need you to get in the trunk for the show. It is what it is.
I'm home. I'm high. I ain't trying to get in no dirty ass trunk, man. What the fuck, man? I'm not with this shit right now.
It's plenty of room for you in here. Just a real quick shot for the intro of the show.
Just like that, you want rooms to go, now you want niggas to go. I'm not doing it. Listen, man. Hey, OD.
So you're telling me, after everything I do for the show, that you won't get in the trunk for the show?
Man, I ain't saying that. I'm saying you catching a nigga off guard with this shit, man. Like, it's a dirty ass trunk. Like, man, how long I got to be in here, man?
I don't know, 3, 4, 4.5 minutes. Tops. There you go, for the show. I'm gonna edit this real good, okay? Listen, when we open it, I just need you to come out ready.
That's what she said. You a dirty ass motherfucker.
What the f is up, internet? We have a very special episode today covering a classic of Quentin Tarantino's. Yeah, I said classic. Before we get into the movie that we're going to be talking about, before we get into anything pretty much, just want to quickly address the fact why we've been away for a while. There was Thanksgiving, there was a COVID scare in the family, there was a wisdom toothache, and when it's a two-man show, it only takes one man falling down for the whole thing to not happen for a little while. So we're back.
We need some interns.
Yeah. We have Jackie Brown this week. We have Rain Man. We'll wrap up the season next week on Christmas Eve. Did want to say thank you very much to our first patron on Patreon, Andrew Hentz. Mr. Take a Picture, It'll Last Longer.
He actually made a donation that will last longer. Thank you, Andrew.
Yeah, he not only gave us an awesome promo, he also went on to become a patron subscriber. So thank you very much to Andrew, and if you would like to join Andrew in supporting what we're doing, you can do so at patreon.com/TTFT show. As far as all the rewards go on Patreon, those will all kick in Season 2 when we start doing bi-weekly episodes. That's when you'll be able to get episodes early. Uncensored episodes will be kind of shifting the format a little bit to accommodate those rewards on Patreon. And the other way that you can support us is by subscribing, by liking, by commenting. On that note, just wanted to say thank you very much on the last episode. That was like a landmark moment for us. The Planes, Trains, and Automobiles episode is almost up to 300 views.
So let me get it straight. The Planes, Trains, and Automobiles episode got the most traffic. That's what I hear.
Yes, okay. Oh man, you're here.
Yeah.
So I know 300 views to a lot of people is not a lot, but for us, it's definitely a milestone, so we appreciate everybody that helped us get there, and please help us keep the momentum going. With that being said, let's get into this episode. This was your pick all the way.
All the way. The year is 1997. The director is Quentin Tarantino. Don't fact check me on the Dimitris. No, don't do that. No, but the film in itself is Jackie Brown. And I don't know where you are, but we're on 110th Street. And guys, when I tell you this was my pick all the way, this is one of the times, just like when we talked about Coffee Town and we talked about The Living Wake, how he was so excited for me to see these. And us being friends, that there's rarely movies that we like movies that we know about that we just haven't seen. In this was the first time I was able to do this to him, it was a Tarantino movie he hadn't seen. And it just blew my mind. I'm like, wait a minute, this is the one? Like, not Hateful Eight, not like Inglourious Basterds, not like Reservoir Dogs. Even a lot of people miss Reservoir Dogs, which you truly can't appreciate Pulp Fiction without seeing Reservoir Dogs. But with that being said, Jackie Brown was my pick all the way, but I have to say it's my pick from the show, but essentially it was my brother's pick. My brother, who we'll interview later on, who got me into film at such an early age, because again, clearly getting me onto a court or a field somewhere was never going to happen. Thank goodness, How can I be doing this with this voice? How can I be doing that type of stuff? It's nonsense. I tied my own shoes once. So, but with that being said, guys, the pick for this week is none other than Jackie Brown, again, directed by Quentin Tarantino, star-studded cast. When you're talking about Michael Keaton, when you're talking about Robert Forster, you're talking about SamuelLJackson, you're talking about Pam Grier, you're talking about Chris Tucker on the rise here. I mean, Tiny Zeus Lister, rest in peace, sir. We'll be paying our homage to you later on in the episode. And again, the list just really goes on and on. I mean, who the hell gets Batman out of retirement? I hadn't seen Michael Keaton since Tim Burton's Batman, and all of a sudden now he's rocking with Tarantino. But
it was like John Travolta in Pulp Fiction. You didn't see him for the longest time, then all of a sudden his career gets reinvented with that role in Pulp Fiction.
Reinvented or almost saved, because you remember some of the stuff we were reading about that. But
then he had to go and do what was that weird ass Scientology movie he did?
Which one?
The one where he's like an alien, Battleship Earth, I think it was called.
Yeah, that didn't do it for me. I feel like he's an alien in most of his movies.
For those people that are like me that had not seen this movie, which I haven't seen a lot of Tarantino movies, more so in his later catalog, but I was surprised with myself that Jackie Brown was always one of those things where I saw Pulp Fiction, I loved it. I saw Reservoir Dogs. I definitely considered myself a Quentin Tarantino fan, and Jackie Brown just ended up being one of those movies that was on the back burner that I figured I'd get around to eventually. But for people that are like me that have not seen it, what is your 30 seconds? This is what it is.
Your 30 seconds. You have a middle-aged black man who's clearly a career criminal. This career criminal has enlisted the help of a stewardess for Cabo Air. Shitty, like Spirit Airlines, if you will. I guess we won't be getting that advertisement, but the Spirit Airlines of that time. And with that being said, she is risking her job and her career to traffic what would appear to be normally cocaine, but it's not. What she's doing is basically she's basically bringing him guns. Not bringing him guns. Basically, he has a gun connect over there, and so essentially he's trying to get his money from his gun transactions over into America, and he has enlisted her help. The only problem is the people that he has running for guns here are doing stupid shit, like riding around drunk and high with a pistol in their car. Chris Tucker's character, Beaumont Livingston. And with that being said, because that one domino fell, it essentially made everything else happen, as far as Sam Jackson bailing people out of jail, this, that, and the other. And eventually it winds up, I'm not going to tell you the movie because most of you probably have not seen it. It winds up with I want to be fair to it. The plan wasn't the most astute MIT plan ever in the world. I'll agree to that. However, to see how Jackie Brown, Pam Grier's character, played everyone, not everyone, 99% of the people, as we'll talk about later, to get away and get back to her life was beautiful. Nothing short of flawless. So yes, that's my 50-second elevator pitch. Sorry.
Solid. All right, let's get right into talking during the movie.
Okay. Please.
So Royal over here brings this movie up, and he says he really sold it, really sold it. And I just want to preface everything that's about to happen with, I think this was a really fine film. But when you're talking about the likes of Quentin Tarantino, Wes Anderson, Martin Scorsese, the greats, Oliver Stone, when I watch their movies, and people, directors that are held in such a high regard universally, when I watch their movies, I have to hold them up against the flames. If anybody else, some no-name directed this, and I just stumbled upon it, I'd have been like, this is very, very impressive. But because it's Quentin Tarantino, there's just some issues that I take some issues with it.
And when you talk about a film like Jackie Brown, and when you're talking about a director like those, the Scorseses and the Tarantinos of the world and the Royals of the world and the Spike Lees of the world, and when you look at films like that, you have to hold them to the flames. You have to hold them to such high regard. And see, that's where Jackie Brown really hits home for me, because it's right there to the flames. It's Teflon. Charges don't stick to this film. It's Teflon, because nothing. The bar is not only, it almost sets the bar higher, but I will not say that. I will at least say it's right on par with all those films that I've seen in the Tarantino. Well, let me not say that all the films, but I can say his earlier catalog. Like, to me, if you want, we'll discuss this later, but this is above Kill Bill for me.
Oh yeah, I would definitely put it above Kill Bill.
Okay, so we're starting off playing nice. Okay.
Yeah, I would certainly put it above Kill Bill, but so this is obviously something that is. It's divisive across the board for Quentin Tarantino fans, because in lieu of this episode, I posted something on Facebook, just no disclaimer or anything. It was just Pulp Fiction or Jackie Brown, asking for a friend. And I'll put a little marker up as I say each one of these, but we have Pulp for the win. I like them both equally. Pulp Fiction is more complex, but Jackie Brown is textbook Tarantino. Pulp Fiction all the way for me. I respect Jackie Brown, but it's not even in the same ballpark. I couldn't pick one over the other. Rum Punch is one of my favorite Elmore Leonard books. I think they did a great job adapting it, which that was news to me. Elmore Leonard did this. He also did my favorite show, Justified. Angela, my wife, she just chimes in with a gift that isn't helpful. Mike Madden, depends on your goals, maybe. Pulp Fiction is pure Tarantino. Jackie Brown, while amazing and a great film in its own right, isn't quite the same. Pulp Fiction, but Jackie Brown is the best to watch when you absolutely positively got to kill every motherfucker in the room. Jackie Brown, John Citrone, who is I don't really know where he falls.
I do know where he falls when he says you need new friends, because everybody said something about Pulp 30%. And furthermore, I want to put on the record, I tried to comment on this thread. For some reason, my comments wouldn't show up.
I don't know about that. That had nothing to do with me. Richard Kodai, Pulp. Darren Cooper, Pulp. Dinah, very hard to choose, but it's Pulp Fiction for this gal. I still remember the first time I saw it. Angela chimes back in with another gif. Royal's going to be so mad.
Do I look mad?
Jackie Brown is my favorite movie. Jackie Brown. Some idiot says Barney. Gonna have to go medieval, so I guess that's Pulp. Because Jackie Fiction and Pulp Brown is just so wrong.
Somebody's trying. I feel like that's the makeup guy.
Yeah, I feel like that would be something Travis would say, but I actually know that person. I don't know what they mean. Oh, Ricky B says Jackie. Pulp Fiction. Jackie Brown had some great twists. Jackie Brown, Pulp Fiction. Fox Force 5, so that's low-key Pulp Fiction.
That is low, yes.
Pulp.
Okay.
Yeah, Pulp Fiction, Jackie Brown. David Wolleiser says neither.
Okay, you know what that means, yeah.
Such different movies. I like them for themselves. Pulp Fiction and Jackie Brown. So there's definitely the people have their opinions about this, as do I. I think if I would have saw Jackie Brown before I saw Pulp Fiction, which that's not the order that they chronologically came out in, so I feel like he downgraded a little bit for Jackie Brown.
Yeah, when you say by downgraded you mean inverse downward, a Tenet type reference, because he didn't down anything for me. So I'm just going to go straight. We're not going to get anywhere by throwing verbal mental jabs. So let's go ahead and get started with the talking points. And so, as you can see, guys, film is interpretation. That's the beautiful part about film. Well, there are a percentage of people who love the Jackie Brown. There was a percentage of people who love the Pulp Fiction. One thing I didn't love, though, as the person sitting to my left, computer right, is that he said it was a downgrade. No one there said a downgrade other than the guy that said neither, who's obviously on acid. So with that being said, he feels it's a downgrade. So let me uplift my uneducated, uninformed unisex brother over here. Let me help him out. With that being said, when we jump into this film has so many talking points. The one thing that I really love to talk about is the Melody and Ordell relationship. To me, he has a line in there later we'll discuss. He's like, man, that's my cool white surfer girl. Playing into the stereotypical thing of like, I feel like Tarantino was around one of his black friends one day. He was like, man, I just want me a cool white girl, man. And it's not a disrespectful thing. It's like, you got to understand where I come from. It's a predominantly black neighborhood. Still a predominantly black neighborhood. The only white girls I saw on TV was on USA Up All Night and when I snuck to see Skinamax at 14 years old. So now he's playing off that fantasy. So I love the dance between them two. And while it did borderline on disrespectful, I mean, he did Black Snake Moan. If you saw Black Snake Moan, this is nowhere near on the lines of that. But again, their relationship to me was really intriguing.
Yeah. When you talk about the stereotypes or being disrespectful, I did wonder, like, in hindsight, is it, and Spike Lee kind of brought this up too, and took issue with it when this movie came out. It's a white dude that's writing and directing, so like even though Sam Jackson has the most N bombs dropped, it's still a white dude's writing that is dictating that. And is that I don't want to say is that okay because I don't want to pass judgment, but is that weird?
It's intriguing. It's up into interpretation because here's the thing. I'm not putting this is the way I look at it. I can't go into space. I'm not an astronaut, but I'm an astronaut. Like I can teach you everything you need to know when you go up there, but that's not what I do. So my thing is, yes, there are people write stuff, and I get what you're saying. Like if it just starts out, oh nigga this, nigga that, nigga this, oh I love nigga, you know what I'm saying? And so like he did in I don't know what's that movie, Pulp Fiction. You know what I'm saying? Same character. So with that being said, granted. I mean, a good script is just a good script. I don't care who wrote it at the end of the day. Like, don't get me like, if he has a pattern of doing this, now I feel like, oh, this is what you do. This is your way of placating. I'm not going to say the N word. I'm going to make my nigga say the N word. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like the guy that wrote the lines for Denzel, my nigga. That wasn't a black guy that wrote those lines. But he won an Oscar when he started. When a white guy wrote my nigga for Denzel, that was they nigga. So with that being said, to me as an artist, I don't care as long as there's not an obvious red flag pattern.
Okay, yeah, I agree. A good story is a good story, and if the dialogue is fitting to the characters, then
I mean, you don't see aliens coming down. I can't believe you're writing this stuff about us. You don't know who we are.
That's true.
Jesus Christ, man.
But there's no AOM either.
There will be now.
Yeah. I will say on positive notes, there were two moments that had me falling out of my seat laughing, and both of them were Robert De Niro's character. Of course, the scene where he shoots where he shoots Melanie in the parking lot, but even better.
So let me get it straight: him killing a young white female had you just dying all over in the parking lot.
Yes, because we've all been there and wish we had a gun to just shut her up. But the best part to me is when it cuts to Lewis is getting like sung to and getting the treatment from Simone. He's sitting in that rocking chair going so vehemently, just like and staring at her just like
like a cuckold.
Yeah, it was and every angle from where it opens up and it's the front angle looking right at him, and then it cuts to the side angle from the other side of the room, and you just see the back of the chair just going crazy. Like I don't know why.
What was he doing in that chair?
And it didn't match. He wasn't even like a typical white guy. She's doing this slow R&B song, and he's not on pace with it at all. He is just.
You know what's crazy? I think he was trying to be on pace.
That's probably trying to find the beat.
One of the things, a classic Tarantino style was, if you noticed, I don't know if anybody's ever done the math on this, but as far as the cuts that he does in the film, but as far as like, of course, the scenes are just so long, but in a good way now. It's like his scenes are still a slow burn, and that's a classic style because it allows you to get into and you can't do this with average actors. This has to be above average actors because the idiosyncrasies and the talent it takes to do you're talking about the dialogue, me and you filmed on Selma, and we had Q and Melissa they did that scene. One of the things we talked about, like, man, it went on so long, but it was you lost your mind in it, like you were engulfed into it. So I love that he was still able to keep that cinematography style of that long tracking shot within this film as well.
Yeah, I appreciated that at times when it worked. It worked really well. But I have something to say about that in the things we would have changed too, because that falls on like sometimes it was amazing and sometimes I'll get to that.
Gotcha.
From 1997 until Kill Bill in 2003, 6 years, he didn't direct another film, and arguably I would say that gap marked the true decline of Tarantino quality films. Like, I feel like everything since Kill Bill has been trying to recapture that magic in a bottle that he had with Reservoir Dogs, Pulp Fiction, Jackie Brown.
I can't say that you're wrong about, but I wouldn't use the word the. I would say after Jackie Brown took. I won't even just say Jackie Brown. That's unfair. I would say after, and you know this. Once you've done something, and it's one thing when you think something's good, you can handle your stuff not being good. Mm-hmm. What you typically cannot handle is when you think your stuff is really good or is just okay, but then everybody loves it and they're calling it the Tarantino standard. So now you can't just do films anymore. You set the bar so high. And so I get where you're coming from when you're like, hey, listen, you got to understand, they've been feeding me acid. You can't give me some weed now. But not even weed, coke, like from acid to coke. But my point is this, is that I think the totality of the films prior to Kill Bill weighed on him. So after that, I mean, I would want to take a break, dude. Like, because the studios are demanding it. Here's the thing. Now, you got studios saying, well, you should at least be able to do this. Like, wait a minute, I still just want to tell stories. Mm-hmm. This is not going to be everybody's cup of tea. Well, can you make different flavors? Now, I'm not telling my story now. So I just think that at a certain point, you can only, before it's like, dude, like, what's up next, Q? What do you got next? Like, a vacation, a family, drugs. I don't know. Leave me alone.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Yeah, I kind of feel like he got big, he got budgets, because there was a noticeable difference between those first three movies, and then Kill Bill was this big budget, looked like a big budget, and everything has kind of been that way since then. And I think, like, I would say that Once Upon a Time in Hollywood is the closest he's come to recapturing that magic he had just naturally in the first three movies. And I don't even think that's a popular opinion. I don't think a lot of people appreciated Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. One other thing I did want to make mention of is that with Quentin Tarantino movies, even going all the way back to the near beginning with Jackie Brown, I noticed that two things he stays true to that you can always count on in a film is close-up shots of a girl's feet and point-of-view shots from a trunk.
Yeah, the POV is everything. The POV, and we'll discuss that later. I mean, if you guys didn't love that intro, we just rocked the out of with the trunk shot. That was an homage to Tarantino, and of course the foot thing. Like, hey, guy, hey, listen, hey, teach us on there. Something floats everybody's remote. Whatever finds your lost remote. One of the things I wanted to hit on is, damn it, I really just miss normal stereotypical racism cops. I really miss those. Because like you knew what you were dealing with, and Vargas is such a prick. But I miss pricks like Vargas, because you know why? Vargas believed in the code. He really believed in everything they taught him at the academy, which was, it doesn't matter whether it's a spick, a Jew, a Gentile, an alien, or even white people. He didn't give a like, he was going to take whatever stereotypical thing he can say. And when he looked at Jackie, and he was like, you're a 44-year-old gainfully employed black woman holding on to whatever little shitty job you can. You didn't really set the world on fire, did you, Jackie? Like, I didn't see an N-word in him. Yeah. But I knew that he didn't like it. It was a typical Joe Friday cop, like, you piece of shit, you're doing nowhere. You're the reason why the world stinks. Like, I miss that prick type of cop.
You didn't even ask if you could smoke. Can I smoke? No.
Right. So, we got a little dragnet going on.
He's getting a little something like, from her. She's in there lighting cigarettes back and forth, and it's all right.
Like the paddy wagon car. Yeah. Stop that. Like I missed that shit compared to the, all right, we don't have enough time for that.
This movie rubbed me the wrong way from I put it in and I had no idea what I was getting into. I put it in and I was like, all right, it's about 10
First off, real quick, how did you get the movie?
Oh, okay, yeah. So I had to borrow the DVD from you.
Yes.
So those
little things, kids, you stick into a little thing and they show you little movies.
So I had to run to the grocery store, as did Mr. Royal, and the timing didn't quite work out perfectly, so the DVD ended up being hid in a random tree in a parking lot next to the Publix in Riverside, and I couldn't find it, so I had to call you. I had to have you on the video call, guiding me to the tree. It absolutely looked like I was doing something other.
So I had to, thank you for saying that. I did all of that for him to say I had to lead him to the light, guide him to the tree of enlightenment. Go ahead. Thank you.
I would say the tree of knowledge of good and evil that I should not have partaken from.
Yes, sir.
It definitely looked like a drug deal. I was really hoping that you didn't surprise me with some. There wasn't like an extra surprise.
Not that time. No.
Kill. But then I get it home, and I got my Publix sub. I put the DVD in, and it's like 10 o'clock at night. I hit the display to see, all right, when am I going to be done with this? And it's 2 hours and 40 minutes, and I was like, oh my god! And that's why that's why some of the scenes that lingered on kind of annoyed me, because it's like this could have been a solid like 2 hour movie, 2 hours and 20 minutes maybe, but no, and I'll get to that. I'll get to that.
Did you hear the star-studded lineup cast?
Yeah,
I mentioned it.
Yeah.
Okay. I love. When I said Dragnet earlier, I love the classic good cop, bad cop scene, because like he jumps right from the beginning when they get to catch Jackie Brown at the airport. You got Michael Keaton, Mr. Cool, Batman, or whatever. He's just sitting back there. Beetlejuice is all leaning up against his car, and then you got the other cop. Like I can just take you in on suspicion, right? Excuse me, Jackie. Like they go good cop, bad cop, from and she's seen this before. She like a suspicion of what? Hey, those guys at Customs, they're a bunch of pricks. Like, come on, what are you doing, man? Come on. I'm pretty sure that Customs relations meeting is going to go great later.
I love it when they're fighting over the color of...
it's a white bag. The Lamo bag. Purple. It's purple. No, that's bags.
That reminded me of, like, that was like a callback to Reservoir Dogs when they're all sitting there like, all right, you're Mr. Brown, you're Mr. Green, you're Mr. White. Well, why is... And they have this argument about, no, I'll be Mr. Purple. I thought that kind of drew back to that. I'll say... I have like a few positives before I get into the other stuff, but Quentin Tarantino definitely knows his way around the soundtrack. Like he can pick songs for a moment that are so perfect in ways that like you would never think this song should go here, but he puts it there and it like works. So
but he broke his for the most part, he broke his rule this time, because the music actually went with the type of film that it was this time. And whether it's the Django Unchained or whatever things he's done before, and that's what made it beautiful. It's like, wait a minute, why is this classical thing happening in this hood scenario? Or why is this hood music playing in this western? Like when the Rick Ross song and the Django Unchained, it's like, damn, this came out of nowhere, but I'm feeling it. So yeah.
When Ordell and Lewis are talking in the opening scene, and when he's wanting Melanie to get the phone, and he has to like go through the shit with her the first time the phone rings, and finally she gets up and gets it. The second time the phone rings, he doesn't say anything. Yeah,
he's like, damn it, homeboy, you gonna pull this shit in front of him?
We just went through this. Go.
Oh my god! And then she picks up, it's for you.
Yeah.
And that's this cool white surfer girl, man. Leave him alone. One of the other things is that, again, that we talk, me and my brother get into this later, is that when Ordell, Ordellrobie, on sounds like that, USHERRA, when he tells Lewis outside the car, when Lewis gets done jacking off in front of Simone during that rocking move, when he comes downstairs and he says to it, and I don't want to say the line because it's one of my lines for later, but he basically tells Lewis, man, if you're going to come in this thing with me, you got to come in all the way. And see, now that I'm thinking about what my brother said later, it's the combination of that line plus what happened to Man Used to Be Beautiful. He's already seeing the decline in Lewis. Like, listen, man, look at me. I love you. So if you don't want to do this, we can keep it here. But if you're going to come in this way, you got to come in with me all the way. Meaning that shit that happened at the mall, man, you see Max motherfucker. So, go ahead, man.
Of course, the Debo line, I mean, I thought that was great when Ordell's talking to Max. He sees the pic of him and Debo. He says, "You his boss, y'all tight? It's your idea to take that picture, wasn't it?" Thought that set Max up for this, like...
Slam dunk, you can be easily bigger to racist, and he's stiff-armed as shit. Like, but he almost gave him that look like, I'm not even going to dignify what you just said.
Yeah, Max was a very enjoyable character to watch because he was so...
Robert Forster.
Yeah, and he was like, at every turn, it was the opposite of what you expected. And then it just kind of sealed the deal when he goes to Jackie Brown's place the day after to get his gun. And she's playing the Delphonics. He ends up just listening to that.
But cool, then, man.
You want coffee? I don't have any creamer. Black is fine. I was like, oh, okay.
Nothing's changed. Well, my ass got bigger. Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with that. He was cool, man. As you really think about it, I think we're going to talk about it later. He didn't raise his voice or turn red one time. Don't you realize how hard it is for a white man not to turn red? Yeah. I don't know. I'm not a white man, but I would assume it's very hard.
Oh, yeah. You cannot control it. The last point I have is Robert De Niro with his Like, he knows his way around some drug paraphernalia.
Oh, yeah.
But when he's hitting that bong, he's doing all the little details that you only really, like, you can't, there's no, like, training for the little things that he was doing to get the most out of every hit that he took with the bong, like, hitting the chamber like that.
You know who would have been so disappointed in him with this drug uses?
Who?
Jimmy from Goodfellas. You're turning your brain into mush.
It was bad, too. You were sitting there watching him just decline mentally throughout the whole thing.
Oh, yeah.
And then it's like...
The opening scene, dude, he doesn't talk for like 3 minutes. Like, why show both of them? They want to show you he's so just like, man, I'm just trying to buy my time till I die.
Yeah.
Okay, so you said that's the last point. That's not true. It's the last positive point you have. With that being said, one of the other things I wanted to really talk to was, of course, you talk about the... really, you hit a lot of my points. One of the things I really liked was that my brother brought this up later on, is that the small the characters that didn't have as much screen time still played pivotal plots. Simone, like listen, your part was so small you didn't have that many words, but SamuelLJackson blew you up at the end when he said, and that Simone is going with my $10,000 too, because like think about it, like remember like my brother says later, everything could have went, like think about this. It really spoke. So she was like a smaller time version of Pam Grier's character. Like, so here she is dealing with this, sit your raggedy ass down, which we'll get to later, this raggedy ass Ordell Roby. And she was like, she's dancing for Ordell. Notice now, what you did not notice in Simone's apartment, all those little DVDs and CD players, like she's into some crooked shit. So my point is, at that moment, she saw her exit, like, oh, I've been on highway with Ordell, but there's exit Simone right there, $10,000 in a new life. F this nigga, I'm gone. I love that shit happened.
Yeah. I will say...
Props to women in this movie. No, Melanie was the only woman that really got fucked up in this movie.
Yeah, and she really
deserved
it.
Yeah, she really deserved it.
And I'll get to the positive.
All right, guys.
Positive note.
Well, guys, we can literally. I know you guys thought the war was coming. It is. It's the calm before the storm. But as you guys see, these are talking points. Please, if you not see the passion, well, I mean, we could literally did this with the books closed. But if you don't see the passion on this, guys, these are talking points. Jackie Brown. Hey, Dave, take us to the next segment.
Let's get right into Big Fikes. All right, here are 10 big facts about Jackie Brown. Number 10, a Fonda affair. Robert De Niro gets it on with Bridget Fonda in Jackie Brown. He also got it on with Bridget's aunt, Jane Fonda, in 1990 for Stanley and Iris, making him the only actor to have had sex in a film with both the aunt and niece. Bridget's father, Peter Fonda, also makes an appearance in Jackie Brown. Bridget is watching his movie Dirty Mary, Crazy Larry on the TV.
I take offense to that fact.
Why?
Have you seen my IMDb? Go ahead.
I've seen the premiere for I'm Gonna Kill Someone this Friday.
And with that being said, on to the next.
Yeah, I thought that would wrap that one up.
Yep.
Number 9, Not to Die For. Of all of Tarantino's films, Jackie Brown features the least on-screen deaths at a total of 4. Kill Bill Volume 2 technically has 3 on-screen deaths. However, several characters are killed during a flashback scene. Tarantino's latest work, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, actually tied Jackie Brown with 4 murder-death kills.
Well, murder-death kill, clearly a Demolition Man reference, but that crazy 88 scene in Kill Bill pretty much wraps up anything we need to figure out about it.
Yeah. Number 8, critical response. Jackie Brown also features a lot less violence than your average Tarantino picture. This was an intentional response after Tarantino received criticism for excessive, exploitive violence in his preceding films Pulp Fiction and Reservoir Dogs. When violence is taking place in Jackie Brown, we typically don't see anything excessive. This is actually Tarantino's only film to date to receive a 15 rating from the British Board of Film Classification, every other film earning an 18 rating.
Which is ultimate bullshit. If you're just depicting the society that you see, then, I'm the problem? V for Vendetta guy. So I'm the problem for telling you what I see. Okay.
I have never seen a GIMP at the bottom of a weird shop until Pulp Fiction.
But you knew it existed, right?
Only after Pulp Fiction. I was like, they're like, what the a GIMP?
Yeah, but the GIMP wanted to be a GIMP.
I know, but it's just...
scary.
Yeah. What world is Tarantino seeing?
Okay. Number
7, A Stone's Throw Away. Pam Grier, SamuelLJackson, and Robert De Niro have all co-starred with Sharon Stone. Grier in 1988's Above the Law, Jackson in 1998's Sphere, and De Niro in 1995's Casino.
Oh man, she killed that role in Casino, man. I mean, goodness, great. I mean, talk about being that guys, ladies, and gents out there. If you ever heard the word being sprung, De Niro was sprung in Casino.
Number 6, Browntown. Pam Grier's character's name is Jackie Brown. Quentin Tarantino played Mr. Brown in Reservoir Dogs. Maybe there's something there. We don't know. Who knows? Pam Grier also played the main character in Foxy Brown.
And also, if you didn't check out our episode from a few weeks ago, Browntown is also the fictional name of Coffee Town, where they didn't really work out.
That didn't go over well. Number 5, Sneaky Cameo. I almost thought Quentin Tarantino didn't make a cameo in this film, but it is actually his voice on the answer machine greeting on Jackie Brown's phone. So he snuck himself in there.
Yeah, but it wouldn't be the first time. Well,
it'd have been funny, though, if he would have snuck an N-bomb on her greeting.
Right, yeah. Yep, I'm pretty sure you wanted to.
It's in his contract. He's got to say it.
Yeah.
Number 4, Settled Score. Longtime Woman. The song playing during Jackie's arraignment is actually performed by Pam Grier.
That's awesome.
Number 3, First Timer. Quentin Tarantino considers Jackie Brown to be his first professional directing experience.
I'm sorry. Let me hold on real quick.
You fact checking?
No. I'm taking a picture real quick. Because apparently me and Quentin feel a certain way, and that makes it makes sense why that is. Okay, thank you. Appreciate it.
Number 2, Weekend Warrior. SamuelLJackson shot his scenes on the weekends because he was working on Spear at the same time. You don't get that many IMDb credits as SamuelLJackson without working weeks and weekends, 2 movies at the same time.
And it's not like these were low budget mom and pop films like you're working on it. But again, like I say, listen, here's the thing I think, here's the beautiful part about Samuel Jackson, because he's embodied what everybody should embody. Once you've been an out of work actor that didn't really make it to your 40s, you'll never be out of work again.
Yeah.
Hey Sam, we got something for you. One time. Sam, what time?
Yeah.
Also, let's not mention that, you just did Casino reference. Hey, come on, man. Stacks, Casino.
Is Samuel Jackson's in Casino, right?
He is. He's the driver. He forgot to crush the car, and then Joe Pesci goes and kills it. Like, you're going to be late for your own funeral.
Is that the movie where he's naked in a bathtub?
Yeah, that's how he ends. He wakes up, he puts on his clothes, like, man, what time we got to be there?
There's a shot from that scene on the refrigerator in his apartment in Jackie Brown.
That I did not know. Now I got to watch the whole 2 hours and 47 minutes with him. They're like, just fast forward to scene. No, I want to get it in its true essence when it's shown. Good stuff, man. Good stuff.
Last one is number 1, Real Money. The money in the bag in the end scene is all real.
I know, because it didn't say for Hollywood production use only like it did in Bad Boys 2.
That's pretty crazy.
It is pretty crazy.
All right, for the special segment of Big Facts this time, we're going to do something a little different.
We are.
We each have compiled 10 of our favorite Quentin Tarantino movies.
Yes.
We're going to list them off, 10, 10, 9, 9, 8, 8, until we get to number 1. We'll put them all up here as we say them, and we'll see how much we agree on the decline or incline of Quentin Tarantino's career, depending on how you look at it. So, here are our top 10 Quentin Tarantino movies. My number 10 is Sin City, which technically he didn't really have. He was just like a guest director on. But I had to really reach into the bucket here for Quentin Tarantino movies because I thought I'd watched way more Quentin Tarantino. I've really fallen off the Tarantino wagon in like the past decade. I've probably seen 60% of the movies he's done. So
again, but like we said before, if someone's giving you, we use drug references on this show because clearly 80% of America, after what they've been through for the last 12 years in life, probably have to do something to get by. The one of the things we talked about is, again, with Sin City, one of the things I want to point out was, of course, that's another time he worked with Bruce Willis. Granted, you know what I'm saying, of course, but again, like, even that whole genre, watching that film in black and white and that color, like, what's the word I'm looking for here? It's what's that, chrome effect?
I don't know. I don't know right now. But I know what you're saying, though. Like I call it the Pleasantville effect.
There you go.
That was the first time I ever saw it.
Yes.
The technical aspect of it was cool, but it was just a very interesting movie to watch. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I mean, it's number 10, nothing special. Mm-hmm. What's your number 10?
My number 10 was also Sin City, which was crazy because of the fact that number one, again, you want to, when you say top 10 Quentin Tarantino films, again, like I say, again, that's my point from the point before, which was, again, if you give someone acid and now all of a sudden you're giving them Coke or you're doing this, or if you give somebody a soda and now you're giving them freaking Coke Zero, you know what I'm saying? Like, to me, it's, you haven't fallen off. It's just your brain cells have been killed. And so now, like, it's not so much. It's just Sin City or Sin City was mine. I'd say that.
My number 9 is also kind of like a technical Tarantino movie. It's Four Rooms. He directed a portion of the movie. If you ever saw it, it was like it's a different story, pretty much a different movie, short film taking place in each room in a hotel, and they all kind of coincide at some point. And there was 4 different directors. I think Robert Rodriguez actually directed one of them. But Quentin Tarantino was part of that. I thought that movie was... I watched that when I was younger. Somebody had recommended it to me because they were like, you like weird shit? Check this out. And it was definitely very weird and left a mark. So it's number 9.
For me, mine was From Dusk Till Dawn.
Okay.
Yeah, and to me, that one was... It might actually be his best acting performance. Go figure, because remember he's looking at you. I thought you would have brought this up because you mentioned the foot thing. Old girls in the bed. He's looking at her feet. I'm like, what the are you doing? You're the first person to be a successful on-screen cuckold. You're making us all watch your soft porn. Like, what's gets you off more than making the world watch you get your fetish off?
Just that, or using the N-word.
Oh, there you go.
Number 8 is Kill Bill Volume 1. I thought that was it was a good effort, and Michael Madsen being a bad guy is I always welcome that. So and the whole scene with her trying to get free, just like again going back to the feet, it was that whole scene with her trying to get free out of the truck. It's been so long since I've seen Kill Bill, but there was like a scene where she was trying to get herself free and had to use her big toe to unlock something or let herself loose, and it was like the most suspenseful scene, and it was all focused on her toe trying to work some magic and
wiggle.
Yeah.
Wiggle. For me, mine would have been, I'm just going to go ahead and say it. It would have been Hateful Eight.
Okay.
That's why it's number 8. Because I hate it.
And Hateful Eight is one of them that
it didn't even make your list.
I couldn't put it on there because I haven't seen it. I can't even speak on it. That's one.
No, you did see it. You couldn't get through it. Let's be honest.
Actually, I did start it on Netflix.
Right. I hate to talk about what we talk about. I mean, this is an honest show. You told me you saw it, you couldn't get through it.
I saw the running time, and I was like, no.
What is it with you and fucking running times? This is 2 hours and 47 minutes. What else are you doing with your life?
I don't know, because I will sit down and watch a whole series that ends up being like 6 hours in one evening.
You're telling the whole world 4 more years with Always Sunny in Philadelphia, but you can't get... How many minutes is in those 4 years?
It tricks you, though. You're getting it in 20 minutes. Here's the thing. Confession time. I don't like the kind of movies that I typically make. I would rather just and your brother gets into this in the interview where you look to the television for education. When I sit down to watch a movie, I want the exact opposite. I want my brain to be shut. Most of the time, I want my brain to be shut off. I'm looking for some escapism. So I like just little. That's why I've been on YouTube. I barely even watch movies anymore. I just watch videos on YouTube. Like, the only movies that I've watched in the past year, really, are movies that were for the purposes of doing this show.
It's crazy. Speaking of watching YouTube, subscribe.
Yeah, please.
Yeah, do that.
My number 7 is Kill Bill Volume 2. I thought it was a little better than Kill Bill Volume 1. It went out with a bang. I think it was David Carradine. Is that his name?
Is him. The legend continues. Don't even think. Yeah. This is the guy that died from, rest in peace, autoerotic fixation. I'm not going to say what happened because, again, it's not about trampling on anybody's death. Rest in peace, because he entertained me for a lot of Saturday mornings. I mean, and again, he had that whole Mr. Miyagi, like, you're not really even moving. Steven Seagal, Mr. Miyagi School of Karate.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, like, dude, you're moving slow, but it's cool. And he had a man bag.
He's moving very slow these days.
Mine was actually Kill Bill Volume 1.
Okay.
Kill Bill Volume 2 didn't make my list. To me, the origin story of Kill Bill Volume 1 was so neatly done, and it's one of those things that you mentioned earlier. Had it been another standalone director, it would have been much higher in my movie list. But again, just like you say, here's the thing, when they say the line, don't call it a comeback, I've seen plenty of people attempt to come back and be like, oh, I haven't acted in years, done this in years. Yeah, the rust shows. It didn't show in Kill Bill, which is why it even made the list. And I really love the story. And again, like I said, Vivica Fox, man. You know how to pull them out, kid.
My number 6 is the Django Unchained, because of course, I mean the performances in that are that was kind of going back to the good old days of Quentin Tarantino, where it was heavy on just very, very witty dialogue, and I mean, I was also very excited to see Leonardo DiCaprio finally in a Quentin Tarantino movie, and that didn't let me down.
When you wait for something so long that it doesn't happen the way you want to, then you can't be let down. And I will agree. I'm not agreeing with you where that movie place is at, but I will agree with you. Like, it was definitely good to see that it wasn't a letdown to see them two together. For me, mine would have been Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, because again, I'm being honest, because again, for me, it's the second comeback. Again, what did I just say? Don't call it a comeback. If you're gonna keep coming, he might be the best comeback director of all time after having classics. Like, I've seen people, Spielberg is always a hit, Scorsese is always a hit. Like when you have to come back from years off and not a scandal, like you just were gone. It's a scandal that we know of anyway.
Yeah, he was hanging with Weinstein.
Well, weren't they all?
Yeah, that's true.
Well, there goes our credibility and our sponsorship. But everybody else, Patreon.
So your number 6 is Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
It is. That's my number 6. Don't worry, I got you, kid.
My number 5 is Inglourious Basterds.
We agree then.
Okay, cool. Because Brad Pitt and
talk about not another letdown. Their first time working together, not another letdown.
And Eli Roth, Batman, he was insane in it.
And you mentioned that to me. That was the one you was like, I was like, dude, I'm not on Tarantino right now. You're like, no, this one will, and you were right.
Yeah.
And am I wrong? Like that movie projector scene at the end, locking the door, locking them all in there, watching your own face. Like, to me, that was just, oh my gosh, man. Yeah. I was like, oh, okay, this is happening.
Yeah.
That was beautiful, man.
All right, this is where we're gonna part ways for sure. My number 4 is Jackie Brown.
You know what's up? The rest of this is in pen. He has Jackie Brown in pencil. And see, that's that bullshit. Yes, the contrast won't allow this kid's film school real quick. It's too much light for you to see the truth. I'll help you out later, kids.
Because I started with number 1, and by the time I got to number 4, my pen ran out on Jackie Brown.
Because the truth will not, the ink will make you think.
Okay. Well, what's your number 4?
My number 4 has to be, if I really want to think about it, if I really had to put this up there, I'm going to have to, I don't want to do it. It's got to be Reservoir Dogs.
Okay.
And you have to understand, when me and you, this is around the time not when me and you first met, but when me and you first started doing videos, you were like, dude, we're going to do this intro. And I'm like, well, why are we doing it this way? I'm like, I just thought it was somebody else just like, oh, I did angle and like, but no. And then I go back and do my research and I'm like, oh, this comes from this movie, how we were dressed. And so that's kind of one of the first chapters of our lives, to where like, okay, if we're going to do something, let's control the controllable. We don't have a budget. We do have an idea, and you got a black suit. Like, we're a crazy party. Nobody has a Versace suit, but clearly we both had suits prepared for death.
Yeah.
Black suit, white shirt, black tie. For some, he doesn't even wear suits, but he had that. So my point is like Reservoir Dogs for me. And again, if you watch Pulp Fiction like me without watching Reservoir, it was Pulp Fiction, Reservoir Dogs. But again, if you have a chance, do Reservoir Dogs first, then go back and watch Pulp Fiction.
Yeah, definitely. This is a very different pacing. My number 3 is Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. So my number 3 spot is technically like the number 1 spot as far as new Tarantino films go. I went and saw it in the theaters, and it was one of those magical moments in the movie theater where he swept everybody up for the ride that was in the theater, and we were all in, like, we were in it. We were with him wherever he decided to go, because he did it effectively. He did the movie effectively. And again, you get Brad Pitt back, Leonardo DiCaprio. Is that? Why am I losing my mind right now?
Why do I feel like that's somebody else?
Leonardo DiCaprio.
We're still missing somebody else though. But yes, he's in there.
But yeah, so you get them two, and then there's like you're by the end of the movie when they are beating the shit out of a woman, like brutally beating the shit out of a woman. The whole theater is like laughing, cheering, because a great filmmaker is able to take you to those depths of humanity and allow you to appreciate the entertainment of it if it's done correctly.
Like in Coffee Town when we saw a retard beat up.
Yeah, exactly. And it was just like the beginning, like in the beginning with his movies, he was able to do that. He was kind of untouchable, where you can have like he in Pulp Fiction, he had me cracking up at the fact that a dude got shot in the back of the car by John Travolta because they hit a bump. Like, he made somebody getting shot in the head funny. Jackie Brown, the shooting her in the parking lot, he made that like relatable to the point that you're laughing at murder. And then he managed to do it again in his latest film, Once Upon a Time. So
I want to just really quick harken back to that scene. If you had to ask me which scene was more satisfying, of course it's Melanie being shot. But when you're talking about Vincent in the back of the car, what was f***ing with me was like, imagine being the black guy in the back seat. These people, you just saw them kill all of your friends, our associates. Mm-hmm. You don't know where they're taking you. But now this motherfucker, like some Seinfeld Marvin, if you listen to the bow, like first he wasn't even finna fucking kill him.
No, there wasn't even.
It was just an accident. Oh, and to quote Sam Jackson, you want motherfucking a gut patrol because it's brain patrol. All right, for my number 3, the Django Unchained. Listen, you have to, again, I brought this up earlier in the season, is that I'm a type of person, I've had Beyonce beautiful type women get pissed off at me because they all think I'm lying when I say the movie theater is my diary. Like, I think you're one of the only few people, you make my top 3 list, like, that can go to I can go to the movies with. I have a 4. It's my brother, Jayla, you, and my mom. And that's high praise for you. Because, like, I know going there, first off, everybody already knows the rules. And I won't have to re-explain them. But my mom managed to break a rule that I don't allow ever. But it was so beautiful. Me and my mom went to go see the Django Unchained. It's the best date I ever had in my fucking life, dude. Like, the best date ever. Because it's like, I don't know why we were even there. I don't know. I think I went to go take her to see something else. And I was like, it was sold out. So like, we'll watch the Django Unchained. And it's like, and now this is it's not cops murdering everybody in the world being up, but it was everybody seeing it visually. Mm-hmm. So we go see it, and it was like me and my mom were both able to laugh at racism. We were both able to laugh and see a black superhero that did not fly. Mm-hmm. He did not fly. All he had was a whip. And imagine, that's one thing. If you thought Indiana Jones was bad with a whip, check out fucking Jamie Foxx and the Django. We whipped it back and forth. So to me, it's not okay. So that's the sentimental reason why. But then to actually, I'm sorry, man. Christoph Waltz's best performance ever, in my opinion. That's just me, hands down. Damn, man. Mm-hmm. And I told people this. This is what I don't think a lot of people see. I don't know whether I called you after the film or who I called, but I remember saying, oh, they just pulled a reverse inverted on everybody. Here's this because you had the people who were like, oh, I don't want to see another slave movie. Well, this ain't it, motherfucker. You had people who were like, oh, I want to forget my past. I don't want to remember that my grandparents and great-grandparents had cloths that we threw away or that we still have. Okay, this ain't that. What they did was, at the end of this movie, also, SamuelLJackson, I guess Quentin loves Sam. Mm-hmm. Sam loves Q. They make... Oh,
SamuelLJackson stood up for Quentin Tarantino against Spike Lee.
I know. And guess what? That drove a little fun fact. That drove a wedge obviously between Spike and Sam. And guess who got Spike and Sam back together? The woman in their lives. Guys, happy wife, happy life. With that being said, what really got me was that at the end, they made the white man kill the white man and the black man kill the black man. Jamie Foxx killed Steven. Christoph Waltz killed Leonardo DiCaprio. Mm-hmm. And so it's not that, I love seeing a white man dead or a black man. No, it was like, here's this movie that should be all about race, slavery, and all these things that are going on. But at the end of the day, there's no such thing as black on black crime or white on white crime. Crime is crime. It's all about what's true to your heart. Mm-hmm. Here you had this Uncle Tom motherfucking Steven. Oh, they want that girl. That's what they want that girl. Yeah. And this slave being... I'm sorry, you go ahead. I'm sorry. That's, to me, that's meant so much to me.
My number 2 is Reservoir Dogs, which was the second Quentin Tarantino movie I saw. I saw Pulp Fiction. I was like, what else has this dude done? And I heard Reservoir Dogs kind of had all of the quality of a really good student film that was just done very effectively. He took very little and he used it in his favor. Michael Madsen, Harvey Keitel, Tim Roth, where her best scene in probably any Quentin Tarantino movie to me is in Reservoir Dogs, where Harvey Keitel and Tim Roth are sitting in the car. They're staking out the place they're going to rob. And Harvey Keitel's just kind of going over everything, like, when we go to the door, this time, what about this, da-da-da. He's like, what about that girl? Tim Roth, without missing a beat, right here on my dick.
Do you know I still have a copy unopened of Reservoir Dogs that I bought from Walmart 9 years ago on your recommendation?
That's crazy.
Yeah.
But you have seen it, right?
Yes, but okay. I didn't. But by the time I went to see it, it was on. I was like, oh shit, let me watch it. I'm like, well, I'm not going to open it now.
Yeah, and that's one of and Steve Buscemi, of course, too. And so you have, like, all these
callbacks. And seeing the kids out there, I know we haven't taught you guys a lesson quite some time. Get in with your directors. As Lisa talked about, as some of our guests have talked about. You know why? Because clearly if they like how you work, they'll keep working with you because you mentioned the name Tim Roth.
Oh, and he single-handedly kept Michael Madsen's career afloat for the duration of Michael Madsen's career. Like, all of his best roles are given to him by Quentin Tarantino.
So you mentioned that they brought him in the back scene and playing a bad guy in Kill Bill. Mm-hmm. My number 2 is Pulp Fiction. And there's nothing I can say without causing a fire. It's not even just between me and you, between the dedicated people who have the tattoos and everything. Listen.
By at least half the comments in that thread.
Yeah, we don't even need it. If you clearly just... It's my number 2 and it's plastered on my wall. By the way, there's no Jackie Brown posters in here. Let me just make sure that's clear. But there was a DVD cover. Got left for some reason. But yes, with that being said, like, seriously, guys, like, all I'm just going to say is that the highest reward you can get from me as a film is what I call TCM, time capsule material. And Pulp Fiction is definitely time capsule material. Pulp Fiction does... And I know we're discussing Jackie Brown, so I will say the difference between Pulp Fiction and Jackie Brown is that no matter who you are or where you are, for some reason you should have heard the two words together, Pulp Fiction. It transcends people who hate movies. Mm-hmm. Like, even atheists know about the Bible. You know what I'm saying? Like, I get it. Like, to me, like, you can't not watch this. If you're a film student, no person who's made a successful film should ever be able to say the words, I've never heard or seen of Pulp Fiction. So that's my number 2.
Okay. My number 1 is Pulp Fiction. Mm-hmm. And for all the reasons that you said, and it holds a special place in my heart because it was it's one of the movies that made me want to make movies. It's one of those movies that made me think differently about how to make movies, that you can kind of break the rules, that you don't have to tell something in a linear way, and it could actually make it more interesting if you have a little bit of fun in post. It was my reintroduction to John Travolta, and I was like, what the hell? This is Look Who's Talking. I'm not used to seeing him. I'd seen SamuelLJackson in like bit parts before Pulp Fiction, but that was my true introduction to everything SamuelLJackson could be.
Long Kiss Goodnight. Was this before or after Long Kiss Goodnight?
I didn't see Long Kiss Goodnight until I saw him in Pulp Fiction, and I was like, what else has he done?
Okay.
Yeah, Gina Davis wasn't enough of a pull for me to watch Long Kiss Goodnight.
Sorry, Gina. Jesus Christ. She was coming on next week.
But yeah, so Pulp Fiction is definitely number 1 for me. And what is your number 1?
It's funny you say that. I don't know if you heard this film. The year is 1997. The director is Quentin Tarantino. The film is Jackie Brown. Jackie, you might as well just cut shit I said from earlier and really replay that. But again, guys, listen.
And we'll just to settle.
Why are we settling anything? I can't.
Yeah, I'm not. Well, because when I said like what I said about the comments on the post that I made, you had mentioned that.
Are you bringing up our personal messages now live?
Yeah, well, you had mentioned that these are unqualified people making these statements.
Correct.
So then I went and I showed you qualified people, which Rotten Tomatoes, and people are like, oh, we don't trust Rotten Tomatoes. How do you not trust Rotten Tomatoes? Rotten Tomatoes is the culmination of every critic out there, as critics, qualified people to make judgment calls on movies. Now, we can often disagree with them, but the general consensus between critics and audiences alike, Jackie Brown critic, 87%, Pulp Fiction critic, 92%, and even when you take it into the audience score, Jackie Brown, 85%, Pulp Fiction, 96%. So, again, like, it goes with my point, they're both fantastic movies, but I would argue that Pulp Fiction is better.
Here's the thing. You are qualified. They are not. And I mean that with every bottom pit of my heart. And let me explain why. I know you watched that movie. You didn't see, color is a spectrum to you. I know you didn't see any color. You just saw film. Mm-hmm. I know you looked up that stat. Did you look up who works for Rotten Tomatoes? And I guarantee you,
that's what I'm saying. They pull from every critic review. They pull them all into it.
Okay, and these critics, demographically speaking, and this is what I'm saying. When I watched that, see, me and you watched the film the same way. I didn't watch it and say, finally, oh yeah, Quentin Tarantino did a black film. Mm-hmm. What I said was Quentin Tarantino has range. Whoever his editor, we'll talk about that later. Like, this story was a Quentin Tarantino story, and I'm not going to pull the race card or anything like that. What I am pulling is the race application and saying that these critics that were polled, these sites that were polled, I'm guaranteeing you that our voice wasn't heard. And what I mean by our voice, I'm talking about movie lovers and the blurs. Because again, I could have easily been like, damn, that's what I'm talking about. See what happens when he gets him some black material. Like, no. To me, this was an awesome film, but I'm not gonna be so many people can be so obtuse. And I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna look at this and say that the fact that they got that high of a score lets me know, not that I'm right, but it revalidates how I feel. Because again, I know how many people that dig those polls lived where I lived or been through what I went through. I've seen that. Like, how many of them can resonate with being a 44-year-old black woman and a woman being the superhero? Notice Quentin Tarantino has an affinity for women. Mm-hmm. This movie, like we talked about, praises women so much, other than Melody. Yeah. But other than that, it praises women. And I'm just kind of like, oh my gosh, man, he's a pain. Like, this is she's being able, it's almost a different version of a Django Unchained. She outsmarted everyone. Mm-hmm. Everyone. And after that, still try to give Max Sherry the pussy.
Which everyone wasn't that. I'll get into that too.
My ass might be dumb, but I ain't no dumb ass. All right?
All right, so those are our top 10 Quentin Tarantino
Well, he got off that shit. So see what happened when you start dropping facts? See, what, David?
No, I'm just saying, because you're getting me into points that I've got so many rooms for improvement.
I thought we were halfway through the show. Apparently, we're just getting started. All right, here we go.
So that's our top 10. Quentin Tarantino, no denying the fact that he is a fantastic filmmaker, and I think we both agree that Pulp Fiction and Jackie Brown are both great movies.
No, I think we both agree that Pulp Fiction and Jackie Brown are out-of-this-world movies that people should only hope to one day make.
That's true. I can agree with that. Mm-hmm. All right, let's move on to 7 Minutes in Heaven. These are our favorite scenes in the movie, and there were a lot of good scenes. I'll say that.
Really?
Yeah, there were a lot of good scenes. There were a lot of scenes that weren't necessary.
Jesus Christ. All right, well, that's not that segment.
Okay.
Jesus Christ.
I got 4. How many you got?
6.
Okay, so you go first and last.
I'm gonna. Okay, let's get this out of the way. You'll see. You can call it the first one.
Tucker. Oh yeah.
Tucker and Jackson.
Yeah.
So that's obviously you guys saw the intro. Hey, we need to take care of Beaumont first. You know what? I think somebody already did. So guys, there is 7 Minutes in Heaven, guys. Like, these are our favorite scenes that make us feel like to us, like you say. I've smoked marijuana before. I've had liquor before. So there's certain things that get you out of your element. But we'll tell you this. When you truly are doing your true life's work, there's nothing that we like to call it a natural high. That natural high, number one, it's not even free because it calls sacrifice. But when you get it, it's the most amazing thing in the world. And to me, to see 2 legends on the screen at the same time. Put it this way, it's like the unholy trinity of film. Mm-hmm. I have a Quentin Tarantino shot, SamuelLJackson, and Chris Tucker happening all at the same fucking time. And again, we're combining. That's why I think me and you go back so much with this, is because there's so many similarities between the movies that we're not even talking about. Yeah. So with that being said, like, dude, the scene between, listen, that motherfucker says, listen, he said, man, I need a favor that requires me to go out tonight. Like, they're both steady, like, it's like a chessboard, and Letty's like, I need something. Then, okay. Does it need me there? And so when they come down here, like, man, I ain't getting no motherfucking trunk for no motherfucking minutes. Like it's a dirty ass. He listed every, like, I mean, he like, and why did I help you? And he was like, man, I know you helped me, but you catching a nigga off guard with this.
I don't want to get in the trunk. I didn't want to spend $10K to get you out of prison. I'm not shooting anyone. You don't have to shoot. Just hold it. They'll get the idea.
Hey, and you rap that motherfucker. Like, he's giving them motivational speeches on how to do it, man. It's blowing my mind. So that's one of the best ones.
That's how badass Ordell is that he puts a gun in his hands and tells him, as soon as that trunk opens, you come out shooting, or you come out with the gun.
I know you truly believe that because you haven't called him Ordell for the whole episode. So now I know he's making you feel it now.
Oh,
when I open the trunk, you rap that motherfucker.
That's actually my first one, so I'll move past that. Okay. But yeah, to speak on that though, the way that, like, I have been there where, like, all right, I'm home for the night. I just smoked. I'm not trying to go, like, no.
It's shutdown time.
I'm home. I'm high. What are you doing?
And he said that. Yeah. He said, man, I'm home. I'm high.
It doesn't even have
And that's what my brother talked about, like the dialogue, the wordplay. Like, listen, man, I'm not saying no. I'm being honest with you. Like, I love you so much. I'm home. I'm high. And why are you home? Yeah. And why are you high? Like, oh, shit.
That just cracks me up because to Chris Tucker, that is actually a good excuse to him. Like, correct. This is a coming valid reason. Like, yeah,
they're coming off Friday and everything. 100% correct, sir.
All right, so yeah, I think probably my favorite scene in the movie would have to be when, girl, you know I'm just playing with you. The split screen leading up to the reveal that Jackie took Max's gun just in time to show it. You know, the gun. Like, what is that? It feels like a gun pressed up against my dick. And then she's like, now remove your hands from around my throat. And
there's one more word that come after that.
What's
Nika.
It? Yeah, see, I don't...
I know you... See, he doesn't even write it. He won't, not only does he not say it, he doesn't write it. Let that be a lesson for you, America.
After I die, nobody's going through my composition book being like, yeah, we always knew that Thurman Godfrey was a closeted racist. But then, you know, the way Ordell's character, or the way Ordell is standing there at the window, like... girl, you know I'm just like, he immediately switches gears to, I was about to kill her, to, girl, you know I'm just playing with you.
Gloves?
You need to stop all that.
See, that's what they do. Speak with them cops. They got black on black. Shut your raggedy ass up and sit your ass down.
And you could tell right there in that moment, it's such an entertaining scene, but it's also very informative because it tells you that Jackie knows Ordell on the level, like, she is not even hearing his bullshit for a second.
Jackie and just like Simone knew Ordell's bullshit. Simone just didn't work at Cabo Air.
And Melanie. All the women in
so all the women are already plotting against him. Yeah. That Fox Force 3.
Yeah.
Good one, man. Very good. Speaking of Melanie, when he looks at him and says, he looks in the back. Looks in the back of the van. He's like, where's Melanie? Yeah. Like that whole where's Melanie scene. Like, now mind you, he checked for the money first. No, it was Melanie. He was like, where's Melanie? And then he checks for the money, and then immediately he essentially for him, like he says, my ass may be dumb, but I'm not no dumb ass. He immediately starts. If one thing we cannot say, he was strategic. Mm-hmm. He had it planned out, and so he was like, wait a minute, okay. He thought it was a double cross. What he was not prepared for was that scene that most people won't even remember from the film. I know you remember it, but most people won't. Is the scene with Robert, and it's the most dialogue he has in the film when they're in the bar. And I still told you I think it's the bar from Pulp Fiction. We don't know, but it's him. He was like, man, I said, remember early they pay it off. Early in the movie, he said, Samuel Jackson says, I get high at night after all my business is done. Mm-hmm. You might as well put that in the Bible for me because that makes me feel like it's one of those mottos. But with that being said, they then show him later on at night getting high, getting fucked up. And then he said, Robert De Niro, like, you trust Melanie around your money? He was like, I get it. That bitch trying to play you against me. He didn't. You don't get all serious here with me. So my whole point was he knew that, okay, on one point, like, okay, Robert De Niro has already told me that she's trying to play me. Mm-hmm. Now I don't see this bitch in the van. So either one or two things are happening. Either Lewis is being 100% honest with me, or they trying to double cross me, like the double cross. Like he told me about what they were going to do, but then he thought about it. He was like, wait a minute. This man ain't the man he used to be. So I got to let him go. So that whole where's Melanie scene, like me and you were friends, man. Like we were friends before film or anything. And like it's like either you, like me seeing you like 20, 30 years from now, we're trying to do something like, and it's not as serious as killing you, but like me having to say I'll never work with you again to me, which is essentially killing you to me. Yeah. Because it's like, damn, what happened to you? You used to be beautiful, like you don't believe no more, man. Like to me, that was such an emotional scene between two emotional characters. Like he shot this man. And it's not like, think about it. He didn't make it painful. He didn't shoot him in the face. He didn't beat his ass. Mm-hmm. He just shot him twice, man. He was like, man, what? It really hurt him. Like, seriously hurt him.
Yeah, and there was, like, a really subtle build-up to that relationship development where you're watching... It's almost like Ordell is too busy and consumed in everything that's happening to really, like you can kind of see subtle looks the way he looks at Lewis when he's doing
man, look at me
things.
When I'm talking to you.
Yeah. But he's like... And you could like see like maybe in the back of Ordell's mind, it's like, all right, when the time comes, Lewis has never let me down. He's always been there. He's always done what he's supposed to do. I'm not feeling too good about where he's at in life right now, but when the time comes, he's gonna Lewis up. And then all of his worst fears are proven right when Lewis shows up with no money and no Mel.
It's the true textbook definition of being an enabler. When you know that person can no longer do it, but you're blinded by your love for them.
Mm-hmm.
You want him to be that person again. Like you're trying to show him, like you're an animal.
Yeah.
Roar.
I'm glad he enabled him because it gave one of my other favorite scenes is when when Lewis is walking through the mall and coming out looking through the parking lot. Even better than when he shoots Mel for continually berating him about not being able to find the car and being a up. The moment that's even better than that is when he warns her when they're walking out of the mall and he thinks about hitting her. He's like, listen, Mel, shut the up. Shut the up. Like he puts the fist in, like he wants to. Ooh, if this was 30 years
ago.
Give
me the bag, you motherfucker.
Yeah. Yeah, that was so much restraint, and then all restraint was gone. Like I'm bang bang. It was such a perfect.
She should have won a fucking not an award, but a nod for that. She was really with him. Like she transcended color. Like every man in every spectrum, whether you're a pygmy, Indian, whatever, she was that bitch, man.
Yeah.
Damn, man. All right. Well, the scene with one of the other ones for me was when Max Cherry. You talked about Max Cherry surprising you at every turn.
Mm-hmm.
Talk about the balls on you, man, to go to this motherfucker's house. Not even his house, Sharonda's house.
Mm-hmm.
And you come typical. I'm sorry, guys. This is the one stereotype. It's true. The typical white person's not. Damn, motherfucker, you acting like you the motherfucking police. And the reason why I say it's a typical white person now, that's a callback. Maybe Tarantino saw Menace to Society. When the white guy goes from the insurance to, not Don Cheadle's house, Clifton Powell's house. Thank you. Damn, Mr. Royal. Bang, 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 bang. Boom. In that movie, he said, damn, motherfucker, you act like you got you'll come out and ghetto before motherfucking 12 o'clock. He said some shit like that. Like, damn, this is stereotypical. White people don't know how to knock.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's true. It's either too soft.
But no, I'm sorry.
Make yourself known.
More importantly, like I say, he goes into this guy's house, or not this Sharonda's house, and here comes the naiveness. Like, you know what you're doing, but you don't know what you're doing. Because if you went into this, to me, that it wasn't that he was courageous. He was just really just being blindly stupid because he goes generally to try to give Ordell his money. He's like, hey, motherfucker, what you doing? Like, he could have got shot right there. I would have shot the motherfucker.
And he's so calm.
He doesn't turn red. Of course he's fucking calm.
Yeah. My last favorite moment, my favorite scene was when she one-ups the cops, when Jackie Brown one-ups the cops and pulls the second switch with the Delano bag. And what really makes that scene for me is you're kind of getting it from Max's perspective, watching him watch everything that's happening, knowing what's going to happen before it happens. So you're kind of getting the clues that something else is up before it even happens. And you just get to kind of bask in it the way he does, watching it all transpire from afar. I thought that was and it was just like a classic, like Ocean's 11, just like a type of heist scene. Like, oh, there's something else going on here than what we've been told in the narration.
And speaking of heists, that's of course why we're dressing all black tonight. Homage to that. That's the because we both feel like we're gonna steal the show, and it's crazy. We talked about how bad this is gonna be. Surprisingly, it hasn't been that bad. I mean, granted, because we knew that we're gonna be so angry, we've already said our piece. But it's turning out great for the show.
Yeah.
One of my favorite scenes, if not my favorite scene, was the scene in that same club, which I still think is the club from Pulp Fiction. Can't confirm it or not. It's when Pam Grier and SamuelLJackson are meeting and she's explaining to him the plan. She was like, I'm managing to get your money out of Mexico under the nose of the cops. So I'm a manager. I get 15%. He's like, all I'm going to give you is 10. So that scene right there to me lets me, it shows such a beautiful woman's intelligence, a beautiful black woman's intelligence to say, I'm putting it all on the line, and it resonates to the first time we see her in the movie. Like, we're on 110th Street. Go back and listen to that song. It's telling you, like, you got to do what you got to do. Like, it's not perfect. Like, I wish that we were all born into perfect situations, but guess what? I'm almost happy we didn't, because it sharpens us, it defines us. And so here I see, it's strategic. If we said SamuelLJackson has been in this whole movie, here is her undermining everyone, but not everyone, everyone that deserves it. And I don't know if you ever saw the movie Fresh, but you've heard me mention it at least 2 times this season. I always love when someone is an underdog and considered to not be the smartest, but can outsmart everyone. So to me, that's one of my top scenes, if not my favorite scene in the film.
I agree. Is that your last one?
Yeah.
All right. What was your favorite scene in Jackie Brown? Or Pulp Fiction, if you want to throw those in the comments.
No, because we're doing that in season 2.
All right, so let us know what your favorite scenes are in Jackie Brown in the
sweet.
comments, and let's go right on to Scene Stealers.
Here at TTFT, what we do is each week we have an artist, someone that really takes us to that next level, makes us feel a certain way about their performance. David being a director and writer, me being an actor, writer, and director. We generally take this award severely seriously because, again, it takes a lot because as an actor and artist, you are subject to the time you have on screen, the script, which you have nothing to do with more than likely. Mm-hmm. And whenever you're able to take something that 2 people, you have the director, the writer, and you. And whenever you can take 2 people trying to control the narrative and you still shine, that's awesome to me. So David, tell us about Scene Stealers.
So we put one person on the board for every episode. We're coming up to the tail end of this competition. We have who will make it on the board today and who will make it on the board next week with Rain Man, and then the following week when we do our series or our season recap, we will pick one out of those 11 of who is the best of the season, or maybe we'll do a top 3 or something. But to do a quick recap, episode 1 was Black Panther. We got Okoye. Episode 2, we got Tenet, and that was Robert Pattinson.
I just saw him this last weekend.
And my brother.
Yes.
Episode 3 was The Living Wake, which was Mike O'Connell. The one exception to what you're saying about this is somebody that wrote and performed the lines that they wrote.
Yes.
So, I mean, but that makes it even more amazing because the words were his own and the words were what made the performance.
Yes.
Episode 4 was Rounders, and that was
Ed Norton.
Was it Edward Norton? I thought it was Matt Damon.
It's Matt Damon.
Okay, I always get. All right, so
I just had to say his name again.
It should have been. So Matt Damon, episode 4, episode 5, Paid in Full. That was Woods Harris.
Yes.
Episode 6 was the Halloween special episode Us, and that was of course Lapita.
Of course.
Episode 7 was V for Vendetta, which put Natalie Portman up on the board.
So good, Natalie.
Episode 8. Coffee Town, that was Glenn Howerton.
Yes.
And episode 9, Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, that was
John Candy.
John Candy.
Yes.
All right, here we are with Jackie Brown, who will be our 10th Scene Stealer.
Would you like to go?
I got 2 honorable mentions.
I have a few honorable mentions as well.
And I couldn't choose my number 1 out of...
Who are your 2 honorable mentions?
My 2 honorable mentions are the Roberts of the Jackie Brown film.
I'm sorry, I don't know why I almost said Robert Pattinson. Robert Forster, and who else?
Robert De Niro.
Okay, go ahead. Can I take Max and you take Bobby?
Sure.
Okay, go ahead.
What I liked about Robert De Niro was it almost looked like he was phoning in his performance until the end when he went full Robert De Niro, but it paid off in that way where it's like he's like a beast in a cage. And then as soon as the cage gets left open, all hell breaks loose. And I think I actually read something that Robert De Niro and Quentin Tarantino didn't get along on set. And that may be attributed to the fact that there wasn't much asked of Robert De Niro, who I'm sure he considers himself, rightfully so, and a highly esteemed actor. And like, here I am with this guy that hasn't done he's done 2 movies. You know what I've done? He's got me sitting here just doing nothing, smoking bongs. I don't know. Didn't I do it,
baby? Shout out to the motherfucking Dale Fikes. We will not let this episode go by.
That was the only time Angela looked up from her phone when that song started playing. She was like, "New Kids on the Block?"
What? Oh my God. Martin Luther King will be so proud. I have a dream that one day white people and black people will listen to each other's music and they will love it from the mountaintops. Like, are you kidding me? Like, dude, like, Max Cherry, you have to understand, guys, listen. If I have to go look up your real name, that's how good of a job you did to me. And I didn't even know that it was him, which is crazy. And like, again, I'm being disrespectful and not paying homage to his lineage as an actor that he is, but again, all I needed to know is what I saw. Again, to me, like you said, I don't think Robert De Niro mailed it in. I don't think Quentin Tarantino wanted Robert De Niro to mail it in. I think what he wanted to portray is, listen, you've been that motherfucking dude for decades. We talking about almost 4 or 5. Raging Bull, Taxi Driver. Like you that motherfucker. So guess what? What's better than being that motherfucker? Showing them you can be that motherfucker, not being that motherfucker. And then giving them 10 seconds of your entire 4 decades match in the 10 seconds would have been my pitch.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It was done perfectly.
Done perfectly. So then Max Cherry. Max Cherry is, if you've ever looked up any type of, Max Cherry is that white guy that's not racist, but that likes black girls, but can't openly like black girls because he perceives that people are going to think he's just doing it just because. Mm-hmm. That is Max Cherry. But like, that's him on a subplot. Him on a more cerebral level is...
Yeah, he would have helped you to the Underground Railroad. Oh, but don't speak his name.
Here's the thing. He is a PG-13 version of John Voight in Rosewood. Boom! Okay. That's Max... Yeah, you're right. Yeah, because he could have went and her. He could have went and Jackie Brown. But he didn't. Not only he not actually, he mentally masturbated, which the second time we mentioned that this season, he shouldn't have listened. I would have been out there in a heartbeat. Fuck that. If a movie gets to say, I want me a cool white surfer girl, then the white 50, 60-year-old Caucasian guy gets to leave with the 44 gainfully employed black woman. Yeah. Like, that would have turned him out. But my whole point is just like, seriously.
Oh, yeah. Like, you see him, like, 2 years later, he's got the one pant leg up all of a sudden. He's got, like, a fade.
Kip.
Yeah.
Kip from Napoleon Dynamite. But seriously, listen. I mean, to be honest with you guys, if I had a top 4 performance, he's in my top 4. And when you talk about a cast full of the people that we've talked about, even to be mentioned in the top 5 is a shout out of shout outs. And again, to me, this is why I told you I knew this film was special. It's not the only one, but Quentin Tarantino's best films he usually involves himself in. He was removed from this. He was not in Kill Bill either, but Jackie Brown was the first film I felt like he started removing himself, saying like, to me, this is what I hate about society because they're doing it with comedians now. I hate that what society is doing comedians now, that everything's so PC you can't talk about it. I think like Tarantino was that first wave of it. They're just like, okay, people are being affected this way. Well, it's art. Mm-hmm. You're supposed to be... art is only imitating life. So if you're upset about art, why aren't you a billion times more upset about life? And that's all I'm going to say about that.
Especially that he got for Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
I didn't know he got heat for that.
Oh, yeah. Like, it was, like, glorifying masculinity and, like, the... And it was, like, insensitive. Like, of course.
Oh, you mean like insensitive, like Cheers was the #1 show on NBC, but no black person ever walked into that bar. Oh, you mean that type of insensitive? Okay, gotcha, great.
But my scene stealer, I'm hoping you can tie break this for me because I can't choose between Sam Jackson and Pam Grier.
I can.
So is one of them your scene stealer?
Yes.
All right.
Go ahead and give me both, though.
Well, Sam Jackson, this role was, I feel like if there was ever a role that was made for him to play, it is this role because I don't want to discredit his acting ability by saying like he's just himself in this, but he made it look like it was a version of himself. He embodied the character so well and had so much nuance to it. And they both contrast each other. So you have SamuelLJackson that's all like in your face, boisterous, arrogant, sleazy, and then you have Pam Grier that has this like air of confidence about her where she doesn't have to be all loud. She doesn't have to like. There's this, again, like we talked about it with Black Panther, T'Challa. There's this quiet power, and you could see her wheels are turning while his mouth is running. And that's the way, and she had this humble nature to her where, like,
it's almost a Killmonger T'Challa thing, but
she played it so well where you're wondering, all right, do I feel bad for her or do I root for her? Like, I'm rooting for her either way, but I don't know if she's a victim because sometimes she looks like she plays it so well, like, oh, I'm just this helpless girl, I don't really know what's going on, but she does know what's going on. She's like pulling all the strings from every angle.
It's Joker meets V for Vendetta.
Yeah, that's a good analogy.
Because again, she is that quiet presence that you mentioned, and if you want me to break the tie, before I can break the tie, let me say this: If you ever ask me what role was Samuel L. Jackson ever made for, there's only two that I think of, and it's Pulp Fiction, and it's also the role he did in A Long Kiss Goodnight. Like, to me, I love to, because here's the thing. If you were
Snakes on a Plane was pretty much him parodying himself.
Correct. I agree 100%, which I'm
but
fine with.
I'd also put Black Snake Moan up there as far as roles
Parodying
that
himself.
I don't know if he was parodying himself in that. I think that was
parodying something on Pornhub, a category on Pornhub. I can tell you that right now. But for me, when I say Sam Jackson, like I say, I cannot. Again, to me, you have to understand this. He's in my top 3 artists of all time, and it's not because he's black, but what it is because is I resonate more than, again, I am a black man, but I resonate more with the fact that he didn't make it in his teens. He didn't make it as a kid. He didn't make it in his 20s, his 30s. He was 40 years old. Mm-hmm. His daughter and his mother. I don't know if you know this. The moment when they asked him what changed his career, he'd already done School Days and a couple other movies, and he was kind of out there. His daughter and his mother found him on the floor waiting for his crack to cook on the stove. And that's the moment that changed his life. Like, I can't imagine my daughter. First off, I've never done crack cocaine. I've never done cocaine. But I cannot imagine my daughter, who I love to death, and my wife walking in, seeing me pass out on the floor. Rehab. I don't need rehab. Mm-hmm. I just woke up to see them looking at me in my rock bottom. And with that being said, you have to understand how such high regard I hold him, because, again, he said something I believe 100% is the type of person that I am. I'm not a person that can have one beer. I'm not a person that can just smoke one time. I'm either doing it or I'm not. And so for him to be so honest with it,
it was Jay Moore, the comedian. He said, I have an addictive personality. I don't know what one of anything is.
Jay Moore from the Jim Rome Show, and also from Jerry Maguire, if you guys are referencing that. But with that being said, to me, my scene stealer for this, first of all, I definitely had to, of course, pay homage. There's no words I can say for Samuel Jackson, who also filmed Basic in Jacksonville, Florida.
Before you say the name, but there's no competition this time, because
no competition.
If it's either Sam Jackson or Pam
it does
Grier,
not matter.
Whoever you say is.
How do you know it's either one of them?
Because you told me it was.
Oh, well, it is.
So whoever you say is going.
There's no loser.
Up on the board.
There's no loser here, because I'm pretty sure we're going to be doing movies in season 2 that has both of those characters, or at least one of them. So with that being said, to me, it's going to be Pam Grier. And I'm going to tell you why it's going to be Pam Grier. I'm not just saying it just to say it. I'm going to say it. Earlier in the episode, you guys heard my brother mention that it just doesn't start here. We're talking about Black Coffee and maybe 10 to 15 other movies that she's done. But forget all of that. We're talking about it. This isn't 2015 to 20 to where everybody's so PC and LGBTQ and women's movements and Black Lives Matter. Though this is before all that. Before people had a voice. It's funny they say freedom of speech is everything, but it took us to the 2020s and 15s to get our voices out there. And when we do, we still get reprimanded. But that's another story for another day. For me, the reason why it's Pam Grier is because this. I told you. It's easy to make a male chauvinistic pig. It's easy to make us a sympathetic black slave. But what is the hardest thing to do is tell somebody during the 90s when you got Stallone, Schwarzenegger, everybody coming out being macho, macho, macho. I'm going to make the black woman the lead, the smartest person in the room, humble, sexy, conniving, and still gets away and does not die. 90% of films with black people died in the 90s. The black people died, kids. I know you don't believe that now because of Twilight and all that other bullshit that's out there. Black people died in like 97% of the first movie. So, you guys want to be a movie? We got this great program up for you. Black voices matter, but yeah, you're gonna die in the first 10 minutes. I never tell you that. So with that being said,
hey, we're gonna give you your own cartoon film now, but you're gonna be an animal for the most of it. Princess and the Frog, Spies Like Us.
Right. Chris Rock being a zebra.
No, not Spies Like Us. Spies in Disguise.
Spies in Disguise.
Which, sorry, we had Brad Copeland on earlier, and he wrote Spies in Disguise, but it falls
he also wrote Wild Hogs too.
But those two movies, like, that was like on the cusp of like, all right, we're gonna give more black people leads in animated features. We're gonna give you a black princess, but she's a frog for most of the movie. We're gonna give you a black superhero spy, but he's a what the hell is he? He's some kind of animal.
But no, Godfrey says it best, and I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about the black Godfrey. Mm-hmm. And the crazy part about it is that I recently saw an interview where he says is like he's been interviewed by Vlad TV. Vlad, if you ever want to come on, I'd love to interview you because for the most part, I like your interviews, but you're toe tapping a little bit. We'll talk later. With that being said, he interviewed Godfrey, and Godfrey they were like, hey, did you hear? And I apologize for messing up your name because I would definitely respect you as an actor. The guy that played in Widows, the guy from ATL, Paperboy, and also the guy from another film that I really love. he is going to be, he's in this Marvel film called Eternals, and he's going to be the first openly gay character in Marvel. And so Godfrey point was, Vlad was like, are you happy that finally black people are just getting that just due? He was like, fuck no. And let me tell you why. And I respected this so much to hear this motherfucker say this. He was like, don't feed me this bullshit. Don't feed me your agenda. Black people have been trying to get prominent roles in films for not decades, over 100 years, to where the only time we win an Oscar, the first black woman to win an Oscar played a maid. Basically a 100-year-old version of The Help. When Denzel won an Oscar, he was saying my nigga. A white person wrote the story. And I really, you guys got to understand this. I hate color just as much as you guys. I really wish the best actors and the best writers really did the best roles, because guess what? We've not seen the best stories. We've been f***ed over. The best artists in the world, we're being f***ed over by society because we can't do our best, because we got to worry about all this bullshit and this typecast. But with that being said, I'm looking at this film and I'm looking at, damn man, this beautiful black woman who, to be honest with you, you haven't seen Pam Grier since Jackie Brown?
No, and she's not even beautiful in the traditional sense, which makes her even more special. Like she's not, I want to say rough around the edges, but they don't try to doll her up to make.
Where's the makeup?
Yeah, no, and then like she has it's this perfect balance between your typical vulnerable female lead, but also a lot of power. Like the best scene that sums it up is when she's sitting there at the desk waiting for Ordell to get there, and she's like practicing with the gun, like how's she gonna do this and be natural about it. Like I thought,
right, he has a gun.
But even with that moment, you still don't. She doesn't lose any value to you as like the
damsel in distress
protagonist. Yeah,
she's never like plays that, and that's what's beautiful about it. So at the end of the day, for as much people have criticized Quentin Tarantino, rightfully so, for saying the N-word, because I got to tell you here, from man to man and artist to artist, and I'm just as good, if not better, than you. My resume actually does speak for it. But with that being said, like I've learned from you. I've learned the fact that you can be great, but at the same time, I understand why people do antagonize it, because I write movies, I've done movies, and I don't have to get away with saying the word cracker a bunch of time. It doesn't do it for me.
Especially when you illustrate with all of your movies that you are obviously really good with words.
Correct.
So if you can't come up with a creative, so if you can't creatively come up with an alternative to. I don't know. I mean,
to me, I just, as a director, I put it this way, okay, and don't get me wrong, I feel like it's a 50-50 thing. Part of me feels like, okay, I'm not going to feel good casting somebody and paying somebody to do it, so if somebody's going to do it, let me do it.
Mm-hmm.
But I still don't think that's the underlying, just the way I think you have. I don't think you're racist, just like I don't think you're a sexual asshole, but I know you have a foot fetish, and apparently you get off by saying the N-word too.
Yeah, I definitely wouldn't say he's racist. It's just
he gets off by doing stuff he shouldn't be doing.
He's contributing to a problematic
situation. But again, it's not about him. Back to Pam Grier. Seriously, like, to be honest with you, like I told you, this was Pam Grier is my. You have to understand, if I had a top 10 of artists on I can't call it a Mount Rushmore because that's 4, and if they don't like you, they blow your nose off to spite your face. That's where that line comes from. But if I had a top 10 of artists, Pam Grier and Angela Bassett would definitely be in there, because you got to understand, she's been such a queen to us. I'm talking about Angela Bassett. You've been Tina Turner,
mm-hmm.
and you were the mom of T'Challa. Rest in peace, Chadwick Boseman. 2020, you've been up. You took Debo, T'Challa, Kobe. I mean, what the are you doing?
I'm about to send Lil Wayne to prison for 10 years.
After he posed with 45. Okay, another story.
But yeah, so Pam Grier, yeah, that I totally wholeheartedly agree
So
with
PG,
that.
Welcome to the boys, sweetheart. I got a strong feeling you're gonna make our top 3 and 5. Hey, listen, Pam Grier, you did, and guess what? Not only did you win, you went up against Sam Jackson. And had you not pressed that gun against his dick, that was the moment when she won.
Yeah.
What is that? I think it's a gun pressed against my dick.
It was his hair versus her lip curl. And her lip curl won.
Her lip curl won. He's like, man, I just came here to talk. Are you want to talk? Like, it's almost. I promise you, it's almost a joke word. Whenever somebody's about to lose it, apparently they go to that voice.
Like a Joker.
Yes, sir. Bring us in.
Who was your favorite person in the movie? Let us know in the comments. What's your favorite?
Where the Jane Fonda fans at? Because I mean, somebody had to think that was their favorite character. Because I mean, she could have easily made it. Easily.
Yeah, Bridget.
I'm sorry. Why I say? You said Jane Fonda earlier.
You're getting them mixed up like Robert De Niro.
I don't think he got them mixed up.
Yeah.
He got mixed up with him.
Let's move on to "You are going to need a bigger boat." What are our favorite lines from Jackie Brown.
Are you talking about drugs or script? Because there's a lot of drugs being done.
There weren't any. There's not much cocaine. There's so much weed, but I don't remember any cocaine. Was there any cocaine?
Give me 5 seconds. You're right. I think there was cocaine, but we never saw it being done.
I could buy that.
And Melanie was definitely so hopped up on something.
Yeah.
And Lewis was definitely sweating. But Lewis was sweating for the fact that this tried him. And I mean, like, I'm not saying, like, to me, guys, is a unisex word. But they're on the job. And how you have to be on Quaaludes or something to be on the job and look at the motherfucker you're on the job with and say, was this job too much for you?
Yeah.
And he looked at her with every character he ever played. And to me, that the greatest actors never have to say shit. He looked at her like, bitch, I'll kill you right now.
Yeah.
Go ahead, man.
My first favorite line, I need a favor, Ordell. That requires me going out tonight? Come on, man. Because that resonated with me in such a way where he's like so offended by the fact that he's being asked to go out tonight. Like he just got high, he's home, it's late, and Chris Tucker, I mean, he just kills it.
Chris Tucker off of, you have to remember this, and I don't think we're giving him enough credit. You guys don't understand this. I suffer from, I can't speak for Chris himself, but I suffer from the fact that people always find me funny. I'm entertaining to them, but to me, I never got into this to be entertaining or to be funny to people. Like, to me, I've even told you this personally, is like, I wanted you to see the films where I'm not being funny, this kid's where I'm not being funny, because I don't want to be that token guy. And it's not so much like, oh, black people are just funny. They're just, like, no, it's just like,
do a little dance.
Yeah, please drop that in there. If you're not, I'll edit that.
I'll definitely.
You want to do a little routine? Come on.
Do your little dance, guys. Do your little routine.
We only got about
30
days of Trump being relevant. So we'll milk it.
There was so many lines in this, and later on, my brother will mention this. He mentions it that to me, it's not Scarface, but it is like when we start the film. AK-47. Absolutely, when you got to kill every motherfucker in the room, no exceptions. To me, that shit is just so powerful. And I'm gonna go down the line. Like you would have thought this was talking points for me. Like, look at yours and look at mine. I'm not fucking off. Then SamuelLJackson with a typical misogynistic girl. Don't make me put my foot in your ass, which is a callback. I don't think it was Tarantino's callback, but some motherfucker on set who really has either done drugs or let Tarantino f his wife. He's fucked Tarantino's girlfriend. Somebody on set that was black gave him this line because that comes from the ultimate movie, which we might do in season 2, called "I'm Gonna Get You, Sucker."
Oh yes.
Yeah, that motherfucker says on the stage, and she better have some. She better not have some, not half. But all my cash, because if she don't, I'm gonna plant my foot dead in her ass. Go, David.
When Ordell and Lewis are sitting at the bar and they're talking about pretty much it comes up that Lewis f***ed Mel, and
for 3 minutes,
Ordell's like, I hope you felt appropriately guilty afterwards.
I did.
Afterwards,
I
did.
Listen, Bobby. When you're a fucking A-lister legend, you don't have to say them many words.
Like that perfect, like, afterwards, I did. Like,
that was De Niro, yeah. That was him being like, you're a fucking legend. You don't need work. Listen, I can only hope when I'm your age, they're like Tarian.
I have nipples, Greg.
Right. I didn't hear you wash your hands. Go ahead, man. Max dirty chair.
When Lewis and Ordell are in the van, and Lewis is like, he's explaining why he doesn't have the money, why Mel isn't there, and Ordell.
I'm not giving you excuses. I'm giving you reasons.
I want to say that so many times. That's exactly what a reason is, but it's so justified in situations like that. Like, no, I know they sound like excuses, but this is the reality of what happened. I'm not giving you excuses. I'm giving you reasons.
You want to be the reason? I done lost every damn dime ever sent to my name. Hey man, you better back off. He was about to. All right. So for me, before we start talking about stewardesses, we need to talk about Beaumont. We need to get him out of the way. Oh, you know what? I think somebody already did. To me, that was the most sadistic thing a serial killer could ever say.
Yeah.
He has no conscience.
No.
None. Yes.
I don't have a teeny motherfucking idea. Yeah, if it'll motherfucking make you happy.
Not even a little bit.
That right there is when Pam Grier went on the page and was like, all right, you have now SamuelLJackson, and I don't know what to do. If it'll motherfucking make you happy. She said that with so much pizzazz. There was so much, like, attitude. It was a beautiful.
That was not
attitude.
written for her. The lines may have been there, but this is the time where the actress took the words and made them more than they could ever listen, guys. Let me tell you, I've been cursed out by a black woman before, and I'm not saying it's better or worse, but until you've been cursed out by a black woman, you have been cursed out. I feel like I had done something wrong.
Not just cursed out, but when it starts with something like, listen here, motherfucker, and then a bunch of motherfuckers precedes that motherfucker, and when the way if dialogue was ever so silky, like it was so fucking silky. It was the way it rolled off of her lips, like if it'll motherfucker
it was silky, but it wasn't. It was choppy waters, but in a beautiful way, like not even a little motherfucker, man. Like you got that cadence. That see, there's one thing. There's what in film is something they call a beat, to where you don't say anything and your face should show the emotion. But the truly gifted actors and artists out there and actresses, while speaking, there's called a speaking beat. You guys, listen. Actors and artists out there from young to old. Let me tell you something. This is something I truly know. When an artist, no matter whether it be writer, director, or actor, puts words onto a script, it's not for you to. You're not a robot. If they want to hire a robot, that you wouldn't exist. You are an artist. It's your words to interpret what this writer has done, and you guys work together. Just one of our interviewers early in the a couple of other people we've interviewed have said it's all about having that connection with the director. Mm-hmm. But I feel it's twofold. It's also about having that connection with the writer.
Yeah. The
writer, the artist, and the director should always be in sync. The holy trinity of film. The truly classic films are done when the actor and actress and the director and the writer are all on the same page and reading the same book.
I agree. That was
I'm not done.
I figured you'd have a few more.
Yeah, okay. Okay, we mentioned earlier, Melanie, saying this job's a little bit too much for you. Clearly, any man in the world is given a pass for reacting the way he should. I'll just say that. I don't want fucking...
he could have just hit her. That would have shut her
up. But SamuelJackson said that. He was like, how can you talk to a woman like that? Yeah. He said it. Motherfucker says, man, OD, they talking real serious about this motherfucking gun charge. You know what I'm saying? He was like, man, how long ago was that? He was like, hold on, I gotta take the headphones off. He was like, man, how long ago was that gun charge? Like, he pumping up. He was like, the fact he made him even think about it. 3 years ago, man, nigga, that's an old crime. They ain't got room in the motherfucker for joints doing new crimes. I'm gonna tell you what we're gonna do. I got my own personal lawyer. Look at me. Look at me when I'm talking to you. His name is Leroy Stetson. And guess what? He lives to with the cops. So this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna go down to his office tomorrow and we're gonna sick the junkyard dog on their ass. Now, that's what we gonna do. And when he said to me again, guys, you have to understand, it's not till later you find, it's a couple of ways to be diabolical. Words are the most, he is literally pumping these motherfuckers up. Mm-hmm. He's pulling their strings, he ain't the biggest, he ain't Tiny Zeus Lister. He not this big motherfucker. Yeah. He's selling guns. You ain't seen this motherfucker with maybe one gun. That's like a little 45. Mm-hmm. But guess what, guys? The biggest muscle ever, let me tell you something, is up here and down there. This ain't got shit to do with it. And guess what? I'm definitely big up here. And ladies, you know what? That's enough.
So, is that you got any?
Yes, I do. When motherfucker said, "Look at you and your free ass," like I'm sorry. The moment that you talked about, you may have something to say about this really quick. Is when Max Cherry. Remember you were talking about it wasn't the first meeting; it was the second meeting. The first meeting you mentioned that Odell tried to pull Max Cherry's card by saying, "Is there your idea to take that picture?" To me and you believe in ultimate revenge. There's just sex and slow burns. The second time they meet is when he says something about transferring the bond of $10,000 because he didn't have it. He only had an extra $1,000. He even bitched about $1,000, and he says, "Ordell, is white guilt supposed to make me feel like I'm forgetting I'm running a business?"
Yeah.
Boom. He just dunked on your ass. That's from the last meeting.
The funny thing about that was like, man, I don't got it on me. But then all of a sudden, man, here.
Correct, because he technically didn't. That lets you know.
That again is just that's another like this is who Ordell is. What he says you cannot take as the truth. What he says is what he's spinning. He's always spinning something.
Correct, but at the same time he's still strategic. I cannot say that Ordell wasn't strategic. He was basically the master. He was the big fish in his pond. Let me just say that. I think that's the best way to say it. And last but not least,
he may be dumb, but he's not a dumbass.
Yes.
Okay.
And the last one is when my brother mentions this later when we speak to Julian Wilson, one of the biggest fans of Jackie Brown that you'll find out there other than me. Definitely not Dirt and Godfrey. When he says, what the happened to you, man, used to be beautiful. To me, that's one of those times to where it's not about script, it's not about film, it's not about words. You have to understand, we have two legends on the motherfucking screen right now.
Mm-hmm. All right. For the next segment, we got your brother coming in, and for that, I'm going to step
You mean
out
like my blood brother or like my... Let me make sure I get this right for Tango.
You're both, I guess.
Well, you put him in one of your films. You should know him just as much as I do.
Well, yeah, I'm saying he's, so our brother, your blood brother. I'm going to...
In fairness, I've hung out with your brother more than you've hung out with mine, so somebody's slipping.
It feels really weird doing this after the diatribe that you just went on, but the white man is about to get up and give his seat to the black man coming in to sit down.
It all starts with change, guys.
So I'm going to go sit in the back of the room.
And we are here for a segment you know as Cast, Crew, and You. Throughout the season, this is where we bring in people from films who are actors, actresses, directors, cinematographers, but we felt it not justice if not at least once this season, we can actually make it a true Cast, Crew, and You. And this week who we have here, we have none other than the person responsible for about 40% of my early childhood, all the film, TV.
I would say it's more like 65.
They forget where they come from. But with that being said, this week on TTFT, we have none other than Julian. You know him as number 12 in your program, number 1 in your hearts, Wilson. Welcome to the show, Mr. Wilson.
Appreciate it. It's an honor to be here.
Hey, Mr. Wilson.
Hey, don't start that.
All right.
That's no Dennis the Menace.
Okay. And at the end of the show, ladies, we're going to let you basically take a poll on who has the sexiest voice. And I already know who that is, ladies. So,
Well.
Yeah, deep as a well. And with that being said...
Hello.
All right, guys. So with that being said, you know what we're talking about this week. And the real reason why Julian's here with us today is because he's the person that I can give 100% credit on even when I was really into film. He used to always ask me, yes, have you not seen Jackie Brown? And I was like, no, I don't want to see it. He's like, stop what you're doing right now. Turn to this channel. Your kids usually have to turn to a channel before all the Fire Stick days and everything. You turn to a channel.
True.
And so none other. We are here directed by Quentin Tarantino, starring, of course, everybody you know from Michael Keaton to Chris Tucker to Pam Grier to the list goes
Samuel
L. Jackson. I mean, the list just really goes on and on. And not rest in peace, Mr. Tiny Lister Zeus as well.
You get my beeper number.
See, there you go. All right. So with that being said, let's jump right into it. So I must ask you, Julian.
Yes.
What elements about this film made it stand out in your mind to be one of those films that no matter where it's at, you had to stop and watch it right then and there?
Well, for me, the movie itself is just a Tarantino classic. Now, I know a lot of people gravitate to Pulp Fiction. However, for me, that was his homage, kind of the throwback of black exploitation films. You see what I'm saying? And so, of course, anytime you got a elder stated Pam Grier, that's gonna stop you in your tracks right there. I know a lot of y'all don't know about that, but if you were to go back maybe 35 so years and just
Black Coffee.
oh.
Talk to me.
Talk to me. Say something. But yeah, just go back and check out some of her earlier work. She was more than a dime piece. She might have been a quarter.
Silver dollar is what I call them.
A quarter water. So, but basically for me, it's just one of Tarantino's best. Like I said, it's just it brings back all the nostalgia of those black exploitation films for me.
Gotcha. Now, when you say it's one of his classics, a lot of people, like you say, you have Pulp Fiction, and clearly you have things like Inglourious Basterds, Hateful Eight. Different people will gravitate towards him. He's a very controversial director.
I agree.
Even with is it Dusk Till Dawn? George Clooney.
Yep.
Like a lot of times he will involve himself in these films. This time though, he is not involved in the film.
Is not. Right.
Let's talk about Sam Jackson for a minute.
Jackson.
Not even. Let's start with him, but also talk to me about the lineup of this. I mean, this is star-studded. I mean, I'm talking about these aren't people at the end of their careers. These are just.
So for me, again, Tarantino always give you some of Hollywood's finest, and even though they don't play major roles, their roles are pivotal in the movies. So when you look at the movies, you get invested in the character. For me, it's never really the actors. It's more of the words. He's a wordsmith. as we say, a cocksmith, a wordsmith. You know what I'm saying? He gives it to you like, and you don't even expect it.
Right.
Like one of my favorite scenes in the movie, and this is in the way he captures the black audience. Like one of my favorite scenes in the movie, of course, is when your boy Chris Tucker. You know, your man, he bailed him out of jail. And he was like,
hey man, I'm home.
I'm home.
And why are you home?
And why? And he was like, man, I hate to be the type of nigga that you know,
do a nigga a favor and then bam,
turn around and ask a nigga for a favor, but I'm gonna have to be that nigga. You know what I'm saying? That's how you.
They could have stopped the movie right there for me.
Classic, bro. Like I said, and think about how many times you did a nigga a favor, and you be like, damn, I hate to have to ask a nigga another favor. I'm gonna have to ask him because I need a favor. You know what I'm saying? All and up just to set him up to kill him.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And that lets you know then from the start of the movie what type of dude you was dealing with.
The character development had been said.
Exactly.
Like I says, it's hidden in the devil's in the details, and like you say, and that's another thing that made it beautiful to me was because again, there's a caper going on behind it. You have to look past this is black exploitation and everything.
Correct.
They're letting you know if you remove all color from this, there's a guy that's selling guns that. First off, selling guns is not the worst thing he does. What did he say later on the film? This is a clear-cut case between him and me, and you damn sure it ain't gonna be me. So my point is, he is bailing niggas out to kill them. Like, and this is what's beautiful about it.
Yeah.
But not only is he bailing them out, he's a cheap killer. Because he went in there. He was like, I need you to transfer that $10,000 from Beaumont over to Miss Brown. He was like, what happened to Beaumont? He's like, what you gonna do with Beaumont? He's like, I think somebody already did that.
Right. Clearly, and the way he dances on the fine line of telling on himself, but not really telling on himself.
But Max Cherry said that he was like, because you want me to know what you think, what kind of smart guy you are. You got stewardess is bringing you $10,000. Now, why would I have stewardess bringing me $10,000? Now you want me to speculate on what you do?
Right, exactly. So, like again, it's just a wordsmith all the way around. Like for me, I'm a person who loves wordplay. And me and you, we do it back and forth all day.
Yes.
So if you are someone who loves wordplay and how words can really draw you in or take you away, because you can watch an action movie, you know. And one thing about this movie, Jackie Brown, is that and like I said, a lot of people try to compare it to Pulp Fiction, but to me, there is no comparison because they're just two different movies, all in their own lane. You know what I mean? With Pulp Fiction, you were jumping around. You know what I mean? It was this, and this, and they're all connected. But with Jackie Brown, it's a traditional storyline where you see a struggling black woman who's on the back end of her career. She really ain't made much of herself, what have you. And
really set the world on fire, Jackie, didn't you?
So now she's just trying to make a couple ends meet. She's doing stuff she knows she shouldn't be doing, and she eventually gets caught. Now she's between a rock and a hard place. So we think. Mm-hmm. But how we didn't know, and what I speculate all the time is she might have planned this already. She was gonna rob this nigga.
Yeah,
you see what I'm saying?
It just happened sooner than expected. Right.
Exactly.
Right. Because remember, she was like, "I've been thinking about how we can get your money over here." She didn't say when she started thinking about this. There you go. Exactly. I love it.
So
now
you got to look deeper.
If you had not Pam Grier and not Samuel Jackson, if you had a favorite character in this film outside of them, who would it be and why?
Oh man, I mean, of course it's Samuel Jackson.
But outside of them two, outside of Sam and Pam, who else?
Outside of Sam, Pam,
yes,
that's a tough one.
Yeah, that's what we both
because they basically carried the movie. But if I had to have, I like Max Cherry.
Okay.
And I'll tell you why. Okay. I'll tell you why. At every turn,
he got bit by the juice, man. Go ahead.
At every turn, he had an opportunity to fuck everybody over.
Oh yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
Really real talk. Because first of all, he's known this game. He's been in the game for 20, 30 years.
Yeah.
So when he had already put the angles in play. He already knew that your boy was probably stinking in the trunk somewhere. He already knew that. Beaumont. He knew Beaumont was out of there.
Beaumont Livingston. Yeah.
He knew that, hey, if I go, at the end when Jackie offered him to come with her, he knew. You was a part of something illicit. I ain't gonna be the road with you, but I have my memories. Yes. So he never stepped out of his character.
Also, he could have walked right out that mall and not said nothing. Nobody had
gone. Again, that my point. He stayed in his lane. He stayed true to himself, which was, hey, all I am is Max Cherry. Mm-hmm. All I do is get bonds money, and I got a big nigga named
Winston's
that will go find your ass. How did you find him? That's what I do.
So speak about that. When we talk about Tiny List, of course, me and you, Friday, but for me and you, it was more so what he did in Fifth Element, of course. So I mean, the first time we ever saw a black president.
Black president.
Yeah. So I mean, and Yes, it gave him like 3 minutes in the movie, but anyway, it's okay. It's okay. So he was there, and then to see his range and this, but to me, I wish we could have got a little bit more of Winston because again, I mean, I'm just saying if the movie could have ran longer. I mean, some people complain that it's 3 hours. Some people behind the camera.
Well, but, I mean, so just to take a step back, before Jackie Brown, so even before Friday, see, you got to go back to what you gonna do when the Hulkamania comes down on you.
Yes, sir.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
You know where I'm going.
Yes, take me there. Take me there.
Zeus.
Yes.
The mighty Zeus.
The mighty Zeus.
See, I've been a fan for a long time. So,
right.
I mean, so to see him in little bit parts, that doesn't bother me because, again, his presence is so overwhelming. He's a dominant character. You can't, he really, to me, he can't take a lead in a movie like that.
Right.
Because, again, his presence is so big. Not only he's a big man, but he has a big presence.
Right.
Deep voice. So whenever he speaks, it booms. So just like when that little tiny scene when he said, well, give me the beeper number. Right. You know what I'm saying?
He's like, well, bring me out with the beeper number, nigga.
Exactly.
Yeah, I agree.
Powerful. Stopped him in his tracks. You know what I'm saying?
Not only, remember, a lot of people don't remember him, and I never hear people bring this up. He's in The Dark Knight. Remember, he was on the ship. He was like, why don't you give me that? Yeah. You know what I mean? I'm going to do with it what you should have did with it. You know what I'm saying? Exactly. He said, you can give it to me, I can take it. When you got 75 hardcore cock-hitting niggas all quiet listening to another nigga, everybody shut the up. Exactly. All right? So, yeah, I agree.
Presence. Body. Build.
Right.
Presence.
Demeanor.
Voice.
Right.
Action.
Right,
and that's all you got. That's all you need.
So like I say, we would be remiss if we did not just give a definitely a shot. His filmography, guys. You have no idea. Like he said, the mighty Zeus.
Mighty Zeus. The only one. Well, I don't say the only one, but the first one to really slam.
Cole Hogan, the true Hulk, the true slam.
Yes.
There you go, guys. See, never thought wrestling would make it to the show, but it did. All right, so let me ask you this. Okay. So again, I want to dive into this plot point of this right now. So, what do you think Bobby De Niro's character, where his loyalty lied at? Because clearly he was loyal to Ordell Roby. Okay. But at the same time, it just his character was so just if I felt like he was a soldier, but he could belong to anyone. Talk to me about what he brought to, because you mentioned earlier that he didn't have a big part, didn't have many words, but his presence was felt.
Okay. So I'm gonna sum this up with one line. What happened to you? You used to be so beautiful. So that told you right there. This guy used to be a soldier. Mm-hmm. This guy was probably hard hitting. Yeah. No action. No bullshit. Will just knock your ass out. Right. Do you however he need to do you. Right. But unfortunately, Father Time and the drugs have caught up with him. So he wasn't the same guy. He wasn't that same guy. So when Odell said those words, he meant it. He meant it, man. What happened to you, man?
Well, is she dead or is she not?
And that's again, hats off, Bobby De Niro, playing that role, playing that in between character. Right. Again, we've seen him in so many lead characters. He stepped back, but he still gave you everything. Gave you everything he had in the movie because, again, how many people can pay a functional junkie?
True.
You know what I'm saying?
Christian Bale, the boxer.
Maybe. But again, not only a pivotal character, right, but a pivotal plot.
Correct.
Because again, he killed Melody.
Right.
Now did he rob her?
He didn't.
No, he didn't. But as
Ordell was looking like, the nigga I know used to rob this bitch, right?
The nigga I know would have my money,
right here, and that's why he said, yeah. So and he didn't want to kill him. He didn't want to kill him, but he had to. He was alive. The moment you come alive, the L is for liability in Ordell. ORDE, liability roping.
I think more so. I'm not saying he didn't want to kill him.
He didn't.
But again,
he had to.
He had to kill him because of why? First of all, you have broken the sacred trust. Right. As in Meet the Fockers. Right. You were in the circle of trust. And you broke the circle of trust. Right. Once you break that circle of trust, now you're right. You've become a liability. So I have to tie up all my loose ends. Right. I was going to kill Melody anyway, but I appreciate you doing it. See, in my mind, he was going to kill everybody anyway. Right. That's how you got to me, that's how you got to look at the movie because, again, he showed you who he was in the opening scene. Correct. I'm killing everybody.
Who is that? An employee I had to let go.
I'm taking my money and I'm getting the hell out of here.
What you gonna do? Spend the rest of my life spending?
Yeah.
Now, let me ask you this real quick, and it's because you just said this. Now, to me, I think most people don't understand this because you said, okay, it's an interesting plot point that Robert De Niro's character, he used to be a soldier, and like I say, I think that's Tarantino paying an homage. If you've seen Raging Bull, if you've seen Heat, if you've seen God, I mean, whatever. I mean, we don't have to go down. We know he's a legend. So my point is this: what makes me bring this up is I don't know if you saw it. Well, actually, we did talk about The Irishman. Now, to me, like that's him. Like to me, like I said, that's not him. But like his later stages in his life. But my point is this: is that we get this is what is beautiful about film. The setup was he didn't have many words. He had a little bit of screen time, but like to your point. That from the time that motherfucker gets in the mall and leaves, that's where we get the payoff of the soldier he used to be. When she look at him, she's like, the job too much for you. He gives that look like, right. Don't you know what the fuck I done did over the last 2 days? They still ain't caught me for. They still looking for the Goodfellas version of me.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
So, I mean, we got that. It's like him. That tracking scene in the parking lot is him. That's the last 10 seconds of the soldier. He ain't been waiting to use this shit, fam. He was like,
right. And it's such a far character from what we're used to seeing him playing, like in Heat.
Yes.
Lead character. You know what I mean? Main character.
What is the flip side of that coin?
Yeah. Hey, you see what I'm saying? I'll take you down. You see what I'm saying? So that just shows you again another actor who's been doing it for 40 plus decades. You know what I mean? Just giving you range. And again, he didn't need to be on every scene of the movie, but again, once he steps in, you know he's going to give you something. You know he's going to give you a degree that you didn't have or that you weren't expecting. You know what I'm saying? Again, we don't know if he didn't really take. We know he didn't take the money.
Correct.
But because he's not the person he used to be, Odell doesn't know.
Right.
And again, once you broke that circle of trust, you gotta go.
Right. And I think that's one of the best lines. You really hit on the head. What happened to you, man? You used to be beautiful. Like they say they did time together. He didn't see. It's like seeing somebody been a soldier all your life. Now all of a sudden they just like a shell of themselves.
Exactly.
Like he couldn't even remember. He like, well, I figured you ain't had no pussy in a while. Shit. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Now let me ask you this: what sets Jackie Brown apart from? And you were talking about this earlier, not just from other Tarantino films. What makes this a classic? Because as you know, we have where white stuff is just on, but when Jackie Brown's on, you call it like, you know what's on. Like what sets it to that standard?
Again, it's just the words. Again, if you're a lover of words like I am, and you know the power of words, because see, words set your emotion. They set your tone. You know, if somebody's telling you a story, that story can either make you sad or it can make you happy, depending on what verbiage or what words they use, or even how they set it up. So with Jackie Brown, it's always about the setup. It's always about the setup. Like even though he wasn't like a classic scene when Odell's were going to try to probably kill Jackie in the beginning. This motherfucker walking around cutting off lights. And she in there trying to make coffee.
And she cutting off. It's a whole nother dance going on.
So now those wasn't words, but the scene was so beautiful because this nigga putting on gloves.
Hold on, quote Paul Mooney. How many gloves did this nigga have? Right, the brown was the black was the. I was like,
putting on gloves. But again, Jackie, knowing the motherfucker she dealing with, was prepared for him.
Already done stole the gun from the bail bondsman. Hid it in the purse next to the cigarettes.
She
you want to talk?
Right. Yeah. So again, to me, what sets it off is two things. Again, first for me, it's the words. Classic lines. AK-47. When you absolutely got to kill every motherfucker in the building. You know what I'm saying? With no exception. You know what I'm saying? Classic. How many times have you want to use that line on a motherfucker? Like for real.
And then they got the right motherfucker to say it too.
Exactly. And then it's just the way shit was set up. Like again, I reference back to he wanted to put Beaumont in the trunk. Man, I want to help you out. But I want to get no trunk.
Right. Like, damn, man. And it's funny you say that because if you guys have seen the episode, that's the opening to what we did today. That's the scene he's referencing with Chris Tucker and, of course, with SamuelLJackson. Now, before we let you go, I would be remiss if I didn't. I know we talked a lot about Jackie Brown, but, of course, I must pay homage to things. People never get their flowers while they can still smell them. He is genuinely, he didn't take me to any basketball courts. He didn't take me to any football fields, and you guys better thank him for it because this is what you got from it. But again, what got you? I know what got me into it, but what got you into watching film? What got you into just saying there's something about what I'm saying? Like you mentioned words and stories and setups, but what really got you into? Damn it! This is just I love watching film, TV. What got you into it?
So for me, TV is always, of course, they call it the idiot box. So, but to me, it's really a form of learning. You can watch a a different genre of films, movie, TV. Like I've never been stuck on one simple thing. So if I cut on the TV, I might start watching a movie that I've seen before and just wait till I see my favorite parts. Then I might flip to the news and see what's going on, try to, keep myself abreast of what's going on in the world. Then I might flip to nature. You know what I mean? So television and movies are educational tools, or can be educational tools if you allow them to be. So with that being said, I've always been a person that looks for knowledge in various places. And again, to me, someone's always telling a story, because that's really all a movie is a story. If you're watching television, somebody's telling you a story. If you're watching the news, you're hearing real-time stories. So all these things correlate with one another, and they bring you to a place where if you allow yourself to understand and listen, and basically soak in what's going on, it's going to educate you to things that you may have not even been aware of. Like I said, I watched the Nature Channel, National Geographic, and you can sit there and watch that all day. I mean, if you're someone that loves nature, you don't really have to love nature, but nature is basically humanity repeating itself. You see what I'm saying? So if you're someone that's in tune with that particular part of yourself, then you will basically educate yourself and enlighten yourself.
Well, there you have it, and thus that you see the foundation of it and where he comes from and why he doesn't. And like I said, if I didn't ever say thank you, I want to say thank you to the world for Mr. Julian Wilson joining us on TTFT. And guys, if you're going to go look him up on IMDb, the world is fortunate enough to find one project that me and him are in together, directed by none other than Durden Godfrey. I Am Going to Kill Someone this Friday. Pick it up there now. But Julian, we thank you for coming on. Listen, by the way, you're going to be the one and only you of cast, crew, and you to say, listen, we're going to put you up there. You got some heavy competition for our best interview.
Number 24 on your fans page. Number 1 in your hearts.
Is that only fans, or which fans are you talking about?
Hey.
Black and Dicker, season 1 coming soon. And that brings us to our next segment here. What would we change? Some people ask, what would Jesus do? What would David and Tarian do when it comes to things that we would have changed with this film? And so with that being said, I'm going to lead into this and tell you that there is nothing that I would change for this film, and I'm going to be biased in this opinion, and I'm going to tell you why. I'm biased in this opinion that, to me, there are certain moments in life, no matter whether you're an athlete, an artist, a fireman, a police officer, a atheist, whatever you choose to be, there are certain moments in your life to where you have to pay homage and to really pay tribute to those of you who truly believed in you. And if, again, my brother, you have to understand, like, my brother, he's 8 years older than me, and again, I'm almost certain I would not be in film if it was not for him. I have to always give him credit for that, because he could have been like, okay, you're not going to watch TV. I'm going to take you to the football field. I'm going to take you to the library. I'm going to take you here. I'm going to take you there. I'm going to take you around a bunch of girls, which he eventually did.
You're trying to soften this up.
No, I'm not.
You're trying to take the edge off me before we get into this and make me feel bad for everything I'm about to say. Like, this is...
Here's the thing. I don't believe that universally there's a perfect film. No perfect film has ever been made. However, I do believe, based off our demographics, how we're born, and then what we experience in life, there are perfect films to us. I have a couple of films that are perfect to me, such as Coming to America, Jackie Brown. There's probably a few more that
Office Space on there?
Yes. Thank you. Good pull. Great pull. Great pull. Yes, Office Space is definitely on there. And yeah, definitely Office Space is on there. So yeah, Jackie Brown, Office Space, and Coming to America probably rounds out how I feel about my film. But with that being said, as far as what
I'm saying so much for having nothing on that page.
Right, but here's the thing, because you have to understand there's nothing on this page, because again, you have to understand why I won't change it. Normally I'm speaking from a place of creativity and artistic and experience. Again, we respect each other because of I really truly believe this. The reason why me and you are so close is because of the fact that we never asked each other what we didn't know. Innately, when you know that you're passionate about film, you know what it's like to be around somebody that's passionate for film and art. And so that's why me and you've been so connected. So for me to say, like, I'll be honest with you guys, when he says there's nothing on my page, there's nothing on this page that I would change, nothing that I could write down, because sometimes you can't put things into words. And the reason why I wouldn't change anything about this film, because this film is the same reason that my brother decided to... You have to understand, in my first few years, my brother would tell me to watch stuff, but this was the first time I had ever heard my brother say, it was a nostalgia moment for me, turn to channel 48 like out of nowhere, like he came in here like I didn't do it. Like, did you watch? Like, he needed me to know like everything I had been teaching you for years. Like he's trying to tell me, motherfucker, fucking Beetlejuice is in this film, Smokey is in this film, Batman is in this film, A Lone Kiss Goodnight is in this film, Pulp Fiction is in this film, motherfucking Django Unchained is in this film. My brother's trying to tell me like, listen, everything I've been, this is the culmination of it, and so that's why you have to understand. Like, to me, he didn't do this for me for Pulp Fiction, even because he was like, okay, once I turn Taryn onto this, he'll find the rest. But you have to understand, to me, a big brother means so much to me, and to me, for not having a father figure since I was 3 years old, is my brother. And my brother could have told me anything. If there's a reason, he got me into Oz, and one of the things I love about Oz, there was a scene where the guy in the wheelchair tells the older guy, like, you got me into selling drugs and I'm in this wheelchair, but you could have got me into anything, and I would have been different. And so I look at it and know the life that my brother came from, and to have him say, I don't want my brother to be like that. I realize my brother doesn't have a father figure, and I got to be that guy. Like, I don't think a lot of people resonate with that, and to me, that means something to me, because my brother tapped into the one thing I happen to be awesome at. So with that being said, guys, to me, what would I change about this film? I wouldn't change anything, because this film was made long story short, this film was made for whatever reason. It allowed my brother to make me really take my filmography serious and really get into film. And because of that, it's allowed me to get where I'm at today. So it's nothing I would change about this film.
You know, I wish Quentin Tarantino would have also made A Long Story Short. But I'm sitting here trying to hear what you're saying, but not let it absorb too much, because I feel like you're emotionally manipulating right now.
I'm not, because I saw Saving Private Ryan, so I'm not. I know what it's like to watch a movie that's way too long.
How long? All right.
3 hours and 12 minutes.
Okay, that is obscene. But 2 hours and 40 minutes.
No, that's a lot of scenes.
I've never had so much on a page for room for improvement in this season than I have for.
I almost thought that was your talking points.
And again, I don't know if this is because there's more to improve in this movie than there is.
I think it's more you're frustrated with. I don't think there's an improvement.
I think it was that, and just because I have higher expectations.
Okay, I want you to go. This is the first time we've ever done this TTFT exclusive. I want you to go down your list, and I guarantee you, I will counteract everything you're going to say. Number one, go.
I'm sure you're going to try.
Go. No,
okay.
Try.
When Ray and Mark are interrogating Jackie, they the first time when they catch her with the bag, they bring her back. They're sitting in the office. They say, "Let's see what else is in that bag," and
Correct.
They let her just go into the bag. They're sitting right there.
She doesn't go into the bag. You're wrong.
Does.
No, she
pulls everything out of the bag.
Eventually she does. Eventually, yes.
Yeah, and they let her. In a actual realistic situation, what if there was a loaded gun in that bag and she pop, you're both done? Like, in no sense would they would have let her go through the bag. They would have got.
That's not true. And let me go ahead and school you on this. Clearly, you went to film school, but not mine. What happened here was that they knew that they were towing the line of the law. So with them towing the line of the law, which their characters were set up for, that they did not have a search warrant to go through her bag. So in order to find out what's within there, they had to let her go through it. And right, they took the risk of being not Vargas. He's just being a prick. Michael Keaton's character took the risk of guess what? That's why they had one cop in front of the bag and one cop away, just to cover it. So that's what happened there.
Okay, I'll give you that one.
Okay.
So you're talking about going to different film schools.
Mm-hmm.
Did the film school you go to tell you to put a cross dissolve in the middle of a scene that's not even going to a different location or even a different... It is in the same scene. And not to mention, this is cross dissolve is so overly used in this movie. They could have saved probably 7 minutes off the runtime if they would have just jump cut from one scene to the next. But it's always a slow dissolve. But the one that really made me all right, this is fucking too much cross dissolve is when Robert De Niro is looking at the picture of Bridget Fonda younger on top of the TV. It shows the shot of the picture, and then it cross dissolves. They're still in conversation. The audio of the conversation is playing over the cross dissolve. It cross dissolves from the picture to Bridget Fonda in the kitchen, in the same scene. It's almost like I got the feeling that it was like a film student that just stumbled upon the cross dissolve effect and was just like, oh, this is so cool looking, I'm throwing it in everywhere. So that the cross dissolve. I had a problem with the overuse of cross dissolve.
I 100% agree with you. I
Thank you.
searched for some creative reason to say it. Most people are like, oh, it's just Tarantino, man. You don't understand him. No, I agree with you. Less is more. And less becomes more, and especially when it's impactful. When you have the characters that should have been fleshed out, the characters fleshed out very well, but if those extra moments with the crosses off, you could have gave to Zeus Tiny Lister, you could have gave to Michael Keaton, you could have gave to Vargas, you could have gave to so many other people, and I do agree with you, and it speaks to what me and you talked about on the phone, which we'll talk about too later, Tarantino's editor. Mm-hmm. And so at a certain point, like, you can't, guys, let me tell you this right now, I don't care what set I'm ever on. If I feel like something's wrong, it's wrong. Me and him have both been on set. See, here's the thing about it. It's not when you're the lead actor. It's not when you're the director or the lead writer that makes you the shit. It's when you've been the director, the lead actor, and the lead writer, and then you're not. And then you're on project with somebody else, and you're watching this stuff, and you ask yourself, how much should I be involved here? Point being is that I do agree with you on that. Like, as much as I do love this film, I said I had nothing I would change. But at the same time, that was me as an artist. That was me as a fan. Mm-hmm. If you ask me as a student of film, oh, we can dice this motherfucker up.
It might not even be the overuse as much as it is.
It was bad timing.
It was the inconsistency. Like, if you're going to use an effect to go from one scene to another, fine. Use that for every scene. But don't also use it to show, like, that Bridget Fonda is younger than she was in that picture. Like, it should have either been used at that one time or to transition between scenes when time is passing.
So let me put you on the Joe Rogan podcast real quick and ask you, what's the difference between what you just said and that African American female that had the comment or that we let screen our film, I'm going to kill someone this Friday, when she said you're in Florida, if you're going to use Florida, use these colors because that's what you should do. That was someone who didn't write your film telling you what to do. You didn't write that film, and now you're telling them what they should have done. What's the difference?
The difference is that she was unqualified to make that, and I am qualified. Because here's the thing: the way you successfully rebutted my about the interrogation, I can successfully rebut her in that with Kill. At least my issue, it's not it's false equivalencies, because my issue with the cross dissolve is really the inconsistency in it. If you're going to use something, use it consistently in all of the same applicable places throughout the movie, or else I don't know what it just, if it's ununiform. It feels like slopped together.
Okay.
And with Kill, with the not making Florida look like Florida and the overexposure and all that. That was consistent through the whole. There was a consistent tone through the whole movie. So I stayed consistent. Whoever edited this did not stay consistent.
I 100% agree. I agree.
My last thing is the end. While it is awesome on the surface how everything plays out at the end, and she's f***ing over this guy and he's f***ing over this, the way that all plays out is fantastic. But it falls apart immediately. When you
according
consider
to you,
this is,
according to you, could you at least say that? Can you at least say that?
In IMO, it falls apart immediately when you consider the fact that this is all transpiring in a high-scale clothing store. Do you mean to tell me that there are no CCTV in this store in the 90s, that any single detective or somebody involved could have looked back and corroborated the story with what's happening visually? They would have seen Robert De Niro and Mel walk in with a bag. They would have seen who walked out, who came in. It would have been blown immediately.
What I'm going to say to you right now, I don't think I've never had a film thought in the real time as someone who you're one of the few people that can challenge me or at least ask me a question and make me answer it. And as much as I love this film, I have to say that you're 100% right, not even 99% right. You're 100% right. I've never thought of that perspective, and that's what makes our show beautiful, is that we don't discuss these things pre-hand. You're correct. You're right. You are correct. They would have saw the tape. They would have saw all of this, which is why what you have done based off of, before you saying that, I had nothing I would change about this film. Now, by you saying that, you've manifested me only slightly, let's call it what it is, adding to the film. If I had to, I can't even call it adding. I would have changed one thing. He should have went with her at the end. because to me that would have been this almost about to make, and that's why you can't make a perfect film.
Yeah, they had to disappear.
They had to disappear because what the point you are missing is like, yes, like you're thinking with that the amount of now, and not even you're not, you know what? Let me tell you, let me not disrespect you. You're thinking back then,
I'm thinking
back then. But guess what? By the time they would have saw that, she is so educated. They would, and here's like, oh, here it is. Yes, you've done it.
Okay,
you have done it. This is why Jackie Brown wins in my mind. You've been your own. I knew you'd do it. I knew you'd do it. I knew you'd do it.
The emotional manipulation.
No, I knew you
like jumped me up like you just proved me right.
You did.
I thought you were going a different direction.
No, you just proved me right. You are right. You know what? Think about it this way: this badass, intelligent queen, then this MIT non-applicant, which means she could have went, but she didn't apply. She pulls off this heist. Everything goes on. I love that you used that word because I couldn't think of it earlier. Heist. At the end of everything she's done, she finally realized, like she put, like for as smart as she was, she still had to take a gamble, which was put her hope in Max Cherry, Robert Forster's character. At the end, even after all of that being said, you are 100% right, David Blansky, Dirt and Godfrey. You are 1,000,000,000% right.
Stop saying I'm right.
No, because you are. You are right. Because guess what? I've seen this movie 1,000,000 times and I've never thought about what you just said. You are correct. And here's the thing. I don't think the writers thought about this. I'm not going to say, oh, they're so smart and they thought about this. No, this is just something, this is a happy coincidence in my opinion. You're right. They could have, Michael Keaton's character and Vargas, the other gentleman's character, could have went back, and they not could have. They would have. It's not even 99%. They would have went back and looked at the tape, and they would have saw everything that happened. There's one other person that knew that other than you.
Yeah.
Jackie Brown. Which is why, think about this. It wasn't even 24 hours after the robbery. She was already on the way out of town. And even with all that being said, without saying it, she didn't come to him and say, you do realize they're going to look at that tape and you finna be a suspect. Because if there was a Jackie Brown too, Max Cherry ass is in jail.
But y'all get to that.
All right, so with that being said, before you get to that, she still, with all that being said, she realized I can get away with this scot-free. I ain't got to see Max Cherry again. But with that being said, you know what? It truly shows you, and this is what I love about this film, and I think it's a happy accident, which is why it's my number one, David. And I don't think I've ever told anyone this, not even my brother. You have a black woman who is from an area that Max Cherry could never imagine. And she's living a life that he could never imagine. And you have Max Cherry who's living a life that, because see, this is what I don't think people realize, and I don't feel like I'm a sucker for this. I feel like you're stupid if you think that. See, as a African American man, which I take pride in saying, because I was stolen, my at least my family was stolen, and after everything I've been through, the miracle in life is that I still try to see that people just don't have skin. It's truly somebody inside. I'm not going to be blinded by that. To me, that's rudimentary. That's elementary to just see this and say, oh, well, I already know what he believes. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's the stupidest thing. And it's also stupid for me to see somebody that has my skin and be like, oh, Black Power, brother. Oh, no, even Tupac said it best. I thought nobody would ever shoot me. But my point is, this is what's beautiful about this film. Here's this black woman that mentally is devoid of what it's like to really understand that people outside you can trust. You know, she's willing to trust somebody that doesn't look like her so much because somebody that looks like her so much was willing to put her through the motherfucking meat grinder, which is the reason why that we're in the position we're in today, because people that look like me sold people that look like me. If you think I'm mad at motherfuckers that look like you, I'm not. I just got to y'all. You know why I just got to y'all? Because I had to deal with the motherfuckers who look like me first. We just got to y'all. Believe me, if you think we call what we call y'all, imagine what we call the people that did us the wrong way. But I say all that to say this. This woman that had all that background, still with your point of saying that, hey, they're going to review the tape, every tape. She still went back by his office where they should have tape and tried to take him because she knew that they were coming for him. And she's like, listen, me and you, let's go, without saying it. Like, hey, Max, say I got this, I got the car, I got the keys, let's go. She's saying, without saying it, I know it's some Wolf of Wall Street. You remember how Leonardo DiCaprio looked out for old boy's character? He wrote him a note, and they still found it, and they came and got it. She was basically writing that note without writing it. To me, this is more intelligent than Wolf of Wall Street. She's trying to tell you, come with me, in layman's terms, come with me, Max. They're going to review the tape. They're going to know it was you. You're going to get up, and you ain't got none of the money. Remember, he said, I felt bad keeping as much as I did. You're going to feel real bad when you got to pay for this lawyer. Max, I know it's a risk. Come with me. And he didn't come. And she left. David, Juilliard and what's the guy Hamlet. This man, Jackie motherfucking Brown.
All right, if it'll motherfucking make you happy.
Not even a little bit, a lot. Can I smoke? No, I don't need to ask because I'm on fucking fire.
That's all I got is for my room for improvement. I got a few more little ticky-tacky things that I'll get into in the Fxxks Given, but those are the three main things.
Why didn't you even? No. See, guys, if you don't know, David, why didn't you retort anything I said?
Oh, that last statement?
Yes.
Okay, so the first one, the interrogation, I gave that to you. You got that. The second one, the cross dissolved, you gave that to me.
I did, yes.
This one, I still say that while I agree with all of the implications of everything that you said, what it could possibly mean, for it being the main thing that this whole movie is leading up to, it should have been, like, I can agree with what you said, but I think that it's not that. I think that it was Quentin Tarantino saying, all right, well, and not even Quentin Tarantino, because it's an Elmore Leonard story. So
Rum Punch.
I don't know.
Rum Punch. We never brought it up. Rum Punch.
Yeah, so I don't know how much of it was in the book and how different the adaptation is to
I'm
the
sorry,
screen.
really quick, guys. I'm sorry from our readers out there. I know we're doing That's the Trailer, but if we ever do That's the Bookmark, this story was adapted from Rum Punch. Please look at the author of that.
Elmore Leonard.
Without Elmer Leonard, we don't get this. And Quentin Tarantino, what is the word they use? Inspired by it. So, Gotcha, kids.
So, but yeah, the last thing, I think it was more so Quentin Tarantino or whoever just trying to make something work because it was convenient. Like, this story was more based on the dialogue, the character development, the relationships. So I felt like the actual heist itself took a back seat as far as like how, like, if that was not thought out as much as. But you proved
my point by saying this. I'm not going to say you didn't say this earlier, but every Tarantino film you mentioned earlier, I'm not going to say this is the only one you feel this way about, but this is the first time in the entire episode that you said it's something that my brother said. It's based on the dialogue. It's based on the character development. I always talk to you about character development. You know that's one of the biggest crutches about me is character development. So even when I read your stories, I'm like, this is why I want to do this. And then you tell me, well, hey, I know you want to do this, but this is why I see this going. I'm like, hey, I love that character so much, I can't do that character. That's not me. So my point is this is the first time you've mentioned me from, like, I heard you talk about Reservoir Dogs. I've heard you talk about Inglourious Basterds. I heard you told me you try to get through Hateful Eight. And I've also heard you told me you haven't seen every Quentin Tarantino film. And I also haven't seen his film. And just like you, it's been the latter years because when you set the bar so high, I don't want a limbo anymore. Mm-hmm. But with that being said, you're telling me that you look at this film and you see it from character development and dialogue. You've not mentioned that about Pulp Fiction. You've only mentioned story. So this is the one you're fleshing out.
And I'll get into that for Fxxks Given too.
Okay, well, let's move on.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. It's getting a little testy in here.
So what would you have changed about Jackie Brown? Do you agree with what I would have changed? Do you think you're more in his camp where it's near perfection? Let us know in the comments, and let's move on to...
He's so slick. He says near perfection. I don't understand that. Either agree with him or say it's perfect. He's so slick.
Look, if you have some kind of emotional connection to this, like he does, that makes you blind to its imperfections, near perfection, I think, is a nice way of putting that.
I've seen one.
Let's move on to
Vanilla Sky.
All right, we'll get into that.
No, we never won't.
Oh yeah, we will. Well, and that's coming attractions.
That's when we're gonna friendship over right there.
Fxxks Given. How many do we give this movie? We give each film 1 through 5 middle fingers based on if a film gives us 1 middle finger on our hand, then we didn't really with it at all. If a film turns our whole hand into a fistful of middle fingers, then we severely with that film. Jackie Brown, I will say before I give my Fxxks Given why it's not a perfect 5. On the positive side, I will say that this film feels...
This is a little picture of me. This is when my mom and my dad made me. And this is the moment I knew. If you see Mickey Mouse in the background, you've never seen this picture of me before. Look at little baby Royal.
Dreams don't come true today.
Well, yeah, because I'm an athlete and I look nothing like this. You don't understand the immense pressure I had on me in my life. What does this baby have? Tell me, what do they call that? What kind of hairstyle does this baby have?
That's like a faux hawk.
No, say it. What's the real word for it? What's going on? A mohawk.
Okay.
Yes or no?
Yeah, that's a mohawk. That's the Mr. T for
Oh,
sure.
oh, it's funny because my first name is T and my last name is Royal. And with that being said, you have a lot of pressure when your last name is Royal and your first name is and your people refer to you as Mr. T. So let's start with that. And my dad, who worked for Amtrak a lot of years, and who Amtrak is a train company, and they keep the world moving like it's on a train. Your life is on a train chase. And my mom, who coincidentally works for the sheriff's office, but she's not a cop because I would not have allowed that. You already know how I get down. But so we have this one person that keeps the train moving, and there's one person who is double infiltrating the society that is police, whatever, brutality, and all the shit we know that's going on, this corrupt system. We'll be from a debtor one day. With that being said, I was born. So with that being said, he's trying to tell you that about this film that like.
Stop looking at my notes.
I don't need to look at your notes. I never cheated off anyone or on someone. For that being said, with this film here, like I have to tell you guys, when you ask me how many give it, like I'll be honest with you and say this. Like, don't get me wrong. I'll say this. Is this a perfect film? The answer is no. But I will say this. There is no such thing as universally a perfect film.
That's true.
There's only a perfect film to you. And is this a perfect film to me? The answer is yes. Are there things that I would have changed as an artist? Yeah, I'm talking about artists as far as behind the camera, yes. Mm-hmm. In front of the camera, probably not, but more so behind the camera, I agree with you wholeheartedly. Certain things I would change. Runtime, yes. Yes, it's just me being, it's like a person that says, I like this so I can watch it more. Like, I get it. Like, I'm not going to be naive to that. I want more of that. But I will also say that I do agree that some people could have saw a 90-minute version of this or a 110-minute version. Like you say, you have directed, watched, made, and written films your entire fucking life. And even you popped this shit in after I told you, after your friend, your A-list actor, that you filmed for free for all these years, and I've been directed by you for free for all these years, told you that this is so awesome. Even you put it in and said 247.
And I've made a movie that's 2 hours and 55 minutes long.
How dare you?
That, like I said, it's hypocritical, I know.
But yeah, for Fxxks Given, let me go ahead and say, I give this film 10 Fxxks.
10? I don't even have a template for that.
You just made it. Yeah, I'll make it and send it to you. Listen, guys, you got to understand with this. This film has hit multiple categories. It's not the only film that hit multiple categories, but this is the one for me. You have to understand. Cast, director, dialogue, longevity, galvanization. Meaning that no matter if you agree with it or not, it's discussable. Mm-hmm. The level of discussable is there, whether it is there. But no matter what Quentin Tarantino has done, it's definitely discussable with the rest of his films, just as Reservoir Dogs and Pulp Fiction and everything else. And last but not least, it has stood the test of time. And the only way we know it stood the test of time, me and you are in 2020. The fact that this film can even be discussed nowadays, to me, is a success. So I give it 10, Mr. Durden Godfrey.
Okay. And I'm going to just take the muscle of what you just said to me and disregard all of the just hearsay and the emotional stroking and all that, because I give it 3.5, 3.5. And I will start with the positives, and I will end with.
Can you do me like you do me like you do me when I call you and I ask you, I say good or bad, and you say just give me the bad. No, I want you to start with the negative. Let's start with the visceral.
Well, the negative is that it's
the runtime. Start with the runtime. Start with the runtime.
The running time, and that's the good and the bad, and really, because sometimes it feels like a classic film back when movies were brave enough to take their time in. Just like take Misery? Their time in general.
Like Misery?
Yeah.
James Caan? Mm-hmm. It took its time. It was a slow burn. You're the first person to introduce me to slow burn when I didn't know what it was. You're like, no, you taught me about Ozark. You talking to me about other things that are a slow burn. And I'm like, yeah, I get it.
My problem is, so the good thing about that is that you get, by the time the credits are rolling at the end, you have this very real emotional investment in at least a few of the characters, because you've practically lived with them through the exciting and the mundane, which in its own sense makes it feel more like reality. Like you've been through a real experience with them, ups and downs, highs and lows, fast and furious. But So I like that from that aspect that it takes its time, but there are some times where it's taken its time to the degree that it feels forced and pretentious.
When does it ever feel forced? We've been filming for 3 hours now. You've not mentioned forced one time, so tell me where it feels forced. Other than the cross dissolve. I know how you feel about it, and I agree with that.
Just some of the dialogue, I feel like it just lingers on for
Where?
the
Give me an example.
I can't.
Then
pull
it
an
doesn't
example
exist.
off.
Because if it really bothered you, it is just like a toothache. If it hurt that much, you would know what it meant.
It could have been like a minute here, 90 seconds there, 30 seconds here. Just a few.
There was no wasted. I can't say there was no wasted dialogue, but if you can't tell me where the dialogue was wasted, that argument doesn't hold water. I want to believe you, but if you can't give me an example,
I did not come with the examples. I'm just saying.
I'll cut you a break because you are the editor. You do the Big 10 facts, so I'll cut you a break with that. But if you ever want to argue with me about the dialogue,
I will come with examples.
We'll do that off show.
All right. So we've dived into this one so deep that our backlight has now gone off, our monitor is now gone off. So with Jackie Brown. The Jackie Brown is so long of a movie that doesn't know when to stop that we are now in the episode without a monitor or a backlight because
What you're doing is you are not on purpose. You're betraying. I'm sorry. Maybe I'm being biased because here's the difference. I guess we never discussed this. You don't love acting. I do. You love directing. And you love I say you motherfucker. You love filmmaking. You love writing. I love filmmaking. I like writing, but I'm more than in love. I'm infatuated with acting. You're not infatuated with acting. You're infatuating with filmmaking and directing and writing. Like I give you your credit where it's due. But see, my point is this is so for me as an actor, I get a hard on that my dick can never match because when I look at eat your heart out, Joe Rogan, because I'm looking at Fonda, Keaton, Tucker, Jackson, Greer. Forster. Tarantino. I'm looking at these names and I'm saying I only get 247. So to me to see this film, to me this is just such an awesome film. And so the runtime's not enough. We got like, dude, you have to understand what I'm saying. Put this in perspective. This is Pulp Fiction. Wow, a classic. Like I will agree with you. Like percentage wise, majority of the people, whether qualified or unqualified, agree that Pulp Fiction together is a bigger class than Pulp Fiction. I'll agree with you there. I'm sorry, then Jackie Brown, I'll agree with you there. But what I will say is to this, I implore you as a filmmaker.
It doesn't change how I feel about Jackie Brown. Sorry.
Nate, I tried to pull you. I tried to get you to call in. I feel okay. And that's why I respect you. 3.5, right?
Yeah, 3.5.
So 3.5 and 5 equals, can we settle at 4?
And I'll say if this was like an Adam Sandler movie, I would have gave it 5. But I hold Quentin Tarantino to a higher degree.
And we'll agree to disagree on that. Because so do I.
Yeah, so...
But in fairness, I've seen this movie 98 times. You've seen it once. Maybe 12 years from now.
Yeah, that's true.
Because you can't say this movie's held the test of time because you haven't seen it over time. And I'm not saying you're wrong. Hey, man.
I definitely appreciate it for all of it, the ways that it's great. And like I said, even the running time, while it rubs me the wrong way for some particular reason.
Did you feel that way about Full Metal Jacket? Did you ask the running time to Full Metal Jacket?
Yes. Full Metal Jacket bothered the shit out of me because I felt like it could have been done before they had their hair grown out and were out of boot camp and were in Vietnam or wherever. I was like, all right, now I'm watching the sequel.
Okay, I agree. Okay,
but yeah, I thought it was okay. It was it had all the feel of a class. I will call it a classic film. I will stick to what I said in the beginning of the episode. It is a classic film.
But that's not what you said at the beginning, but I've done my job. Thank you so much.
With that being said, let's get on to coming attractions.
Okay.
Next week we have. Next week is the finale.
Can you believe it, man?
11 episodes.
Do you remember when I called you high? Probably about 3 months ago, and I pitched you Tony Stark and Marvel's 10-year, 11-year history all in like 4 minutes. And the crazy part about it is this true story, guys. You know we're super candid. Is that while
maybe I'll cut that and put that on the Patreon page.
Maybe they're gonna have to pay at least $100 for that, but it's definitely worth it. But that moment while I did that, I'm thankfully you weren't concerned for me because you're like, okay, my friend's still okay. Because even in his messed up mode, he is still so passionate about film that will never change, sober or high.
Yeah.
My friend will be the same. But with that being said, I think that it shows you that, damn, he is super passionate and super charged about this. And I don't think it made you think about the show, but it made you at least call me and then we discussed the show. And that's one thing that they can't take from us, is that one thing me and you've always talked about is, listen, we don't believe in ideas, we believe in game plans. And that's one thing. I don't care if us doing this show changes one person's hearts, and I know it sounds cliche, but if it changes one writer's or actor's or director's heart to understand, guys, simply put in the work, learn from your mistakes, and become great from them.
So, yeah, with that being said, we are going into our finale episode. We are covering Rain Man. It is going to be a very special episode. We will have a special. It was hard to find a guest for Rain Man because they're all either way too successful right now to be answering their own messages, or they are sadly no longer with us. But we've got David McGiffert. He is the assistant director and the producer of Rain Man, so he'll have a lot
For all my film school students, if you ever look up a job and they're like, we need an AD, that's what he means by assistant director. So I can't even say solid, but if there was a word I would choose to describe what I just said,
it was extremely well thought and full and complete. I appreciate everything that you said. Seriously. So yeah, obviously we're not going anywhere. Season 2, we're coming. So we got December 24th, Rain Man season finale. We're gonna get through the holidays, get into 2021. Early in January, we're gonna post a special recap episode where we announce the scene stealer of the season. We go over some of the highlights of the season, and then we will return in mid-January with season 2. All right, thank you for tuning in for another episode of That's the F***ing Trailer. Check us out next week.
I mean, really though, seriously.
I agree.
Out of here, man. Jesus Christ, man.
Subscribe, like, share. Patreon.com, TTFT show. We will see you next week.
We survived a hurricane. We went to restaurants. I mean, at a certain point, f*** it, man. Seriously.
Yeah, anything else before we close? So the last episode, we almost hit 300. Let's keep the momentum going.
Rain Man.
Yeah, help us make this episode beat the last one, and let's go out with a bang with Rain Man on the 24th. Hope everybody had a safe Thanksgiving holiday, and I hope everybody is...
Hey, really quick. Jesus Christ. All right, we're out of here. Listen, guys. Hey, TTFT, Jackie Brown. We really thought this episode was going to get super violent, but at the end of the day, it's a testament how much we both love film because, hey, man, he doesn't think it holds the Tarantino standard, and I think that Tarantino set the standard. But with that being said, that's up for you guys to debate. So guess what? Who gives a subscribe to this show and debate it here, because guess what? You have an A-list actor, an A-list editor, and 2 dope directors. We dare anybody to challenge us.
All right. Now, so for the end, instead of us walking in there, let's just walk around the camera, and I'm going to cross-dissolve to us not seeing.
No, you're being so petty.
No, I'm not.
Yes, you are, because you know what? That's the weakest effect you have. Why would you do that?
I know, it is a weak effect. And it's a callback. And